This podcast is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's been a night.
Holy smokes, we made it. Took a little longer than expected.
Yeah, it's been a night. I don't know, do you want to tell the story? Or?
So something happened on the way here, and I was a little bit late, and I actually had to get rescued. Homie ran out of gas.
We?
Homie.
Oh, I thought
Homie ran out of gas.
Yeah.
I ran out of gas on the way to Cade Laufenberg's tonight.
Yeah.
And luckily, it was close, but still embarrassing. Hopefully a good omen.
I had to tell
Either
him.
way, thank you, dude.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Like I told you on the side of the road, the ironic thing is the same thing happened to me a few weeks ago. I was pre-fishing, like, fuel sensor in my truck doesn't work, so it doesn't tell me what my gas is at anyway. I know that's pretty redneck, but yeah. So I thought I had enough in there, but I did not.
That was me in college with my Trailblazer. Gas gauge didn't work, so
Yeah.
I'd lose gas like in the winter, every winter.
I should probably get that fixed. Need to win a couple more derbs.
Well, I think you're definitely one to bet on if it's a river. You got any coming up?
Yeah, I got one this Saturday here in La Crosse. It's an Angler's Choice tournament, so fishing it with my partner Jim Johnson, and hopefully going to take it down. But things are changing out there pretty fast, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, water is a rising. Get you an arc, get you probably a topwater, and have some fun. Yeah, it's interesting, the river and how much it changes, and you and I have talked about this many a times, but you know, for those of you who don't know Cade Laufenberg, he is the epitome of a river rat, and to be a river rat, as you've mentioned before, you have to be willing to roll with the changes because it is always changing. I mean, what are we talking about for a changing, just in a couple days here, what, 4 feet?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty close to that 4 foot range. The stage here in La Crosse was right around 6.5, 2 weeks ago. So to get up to that 10 foot range, that looks like we're probably going to exceed next week. Yeah, it's a 4 foot rise, my brother.
That's a big change. So and that's the intimidating part if you don't fish a river, consistently, right? And that's, I think, why I have a lot of respect for river rats, is because I think that's what makes them really good tournament anglers, is their willingness to fly by the seat of their pants and just understand that they have a set of skills on a river that is always changing that you can roll with, and kind of roll with your gut a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing right now is I get excited to go fishing every day after work. Like, I've been fishing so hard all season up to this point, and it gets like a little grueling. We're getting into that time of year where it's like you've been doing it for a while, it's starting to get hot, working hard all summer, and having this change on the river just reinvigorates you because it's like new and exciting. These fish are moving and they're getting on places they haven't been in maybe 5 years, and it breathes new life into the season. It's exciting
because they're like, you haven't seen this scenario in a while, or?
Well, last season was pretty crazy. I mean, it was 15 foot this time of year last year, so we see it probably once or twice a year where we get a major change in the water conditions. That's not abnormal, but we had such a prolonged low period this spring that it was ready for a change, is what I'm kind of getting at. Mm-hmm. We had that 6 foot water level all through the spawn, and it just kind of was like stagnant. I think they had a pretty good spawn, but it's just, you're ready for the water level to change and put some fish in some new stuff because you're sick of kind of certain schools have been there for weeks and get beat up and things like that, and like the water level just like reset button on the whole place.
Yeah, you want the board to change.
Yeah.
The chessboard, you want the chessboard to change. Yep. That makes sense. Nobody likes playing their sister every day. You got a sister?
Yeah, I got 2 sisters. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Older or younger?
I got both. I'm the middle child, so
Are you?
probably explains a few things. I'm not even sure, but
Well, I'm the oldest and I'm fucked up, so I mean, nothing to be ashamed of, brother.
yeah.
It's called a touch of the rightism.
Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Cheers to that.
I say that all the time. Shane Gillis is the man for saying what he said about it.
I agree.
He was
dude.
nicked. I relate. I relate to that.
I
sure.
honestly do, man. I honestly do. Some days it's a spectrum, and, it's just like any human behavior. Some days worse than others.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, what's new? Are you still master of the custodial arts on the side?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or janitor, if you want to be a dick about it.
Yeah, yes. That's funny. My coworkers, if they watch this, they'll get a kick out of that. Yeah, that's what we do. We clean the floors, clean the building every Monday through Friday, all summer long, all throughout the school year. So
It's kind of a thankless job. And, you guys kind of fly in the shadows.
sometimes, I mean, we get thanked quite a bit. We have a pretty good family at the place I work at. I work at Logan High School on the north side of La Crosse, and the staff definitely makes us feel pretty good. Like, they treat us really nice and with respect, so it's not all that bad.
They don't call you janitors then?
No, we're called custodians.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It's the proper...
It softens it a little bit.
Yeah, that's the proper pronoun, just so you know, for these guys. Just so you know. Or gals. Use your pronouns, people. Use your pronouns. Thank you. Yeah.
Brutal.
Brutal is right. So you think it was a good spawn this year?
Yeah,
And
I do. Saw a lot of fry.
what creates a bad spawn in your mind? Like, and what is... Like, inconsistent weather, obviously, and then, like, lots of fluctuating water,
Yeah,
maybe?
that's what I was going to say.
Overabundance
Is
of that?
I think this year, despite the fact that the water was low throughout pretty much the entire spawn, it was consistent. So those fish didn't get weird and try to spawn someplace and then have it go, have the bottom drop out. I've seen dry beds before. It's crazy to see. Like, you see the
Oh my
little
God.
divot out of the water. It's like fish, not, the big ones, the smart ones, they don't spawn in places that will go dry.
Interesting.
But there's always dumb ones that are going to try to do that, and then it's unsuccessful, so you lose that potential. So I feel like having a stable water level, you don't get any fish that are going to have an unsuccessful spawn,
So what
More
you're
just
saying
came down
is...
to fry guarding at that point, how successful the fry guarding was.
So are you... there's a little nugget I want to pull out of what you just said, and I guess... So in a high water spring scenario, you think those bigger fish will spawn 6 feet down? Because, you know what I mean?
Nope, I have no idea what you're talking about.
We need to cut?
Yeah. Not actually, you don't have to cut it, but that's
We'll just leave
that's
it
a
at,
sneak. That's
we'll just
for sure.
leave it at that?
Yeah, leave
So,
it at that.
I got you.
We don't need to expand.
Ruh-roh, Reggie.
But yeah, that's a deal.
Yeah, well, I've figured that out in a few places up, in 4 and 5
Yeah.
with smallmouth, where, you'll catch a couple of 2 3/4 up on the bank, right?
Yeah.
And then, like,
Yeah.
a little bit off.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, that's where they're comfortable.
Well, I didn't mean to start
It's all
off
about
getting on a
substrate.
subject that uncomfortable. So we can change to a subject that's a little more comfortable for you.
I was talking about it was comfortable for the fish. I was still going, but you just kind of...
No, we can keep going. I'm sorry.
Nope, we're done.
Well, I just was, I know you got a spawn tournament coming up, and,
Yeah,
I
big
wasn't
time.
trying to bust your balls on that.
They're
You
going hard
wasn't
right
trying
now.
to give a sneak out. Hopefully that the good news about talking about that now is, unless you're kind of probably a Minnesota lake smallmouth doing a weird late summer window type of deal, it's they're probably pretty much done. What's the latest you've seen a spawning bass on the river? I guess that's an interesting one.
I mean, I've seen bass spawn.
Hey guys, this is an exciting one. I just got back from Thorne Brothers, and they just recently took on this brand. It's called Galapagos Fishing, It's a Japanese brand. The guy is a guide on Lake Biwa. And it's just really cool to see some of the awesome products coming out of Japan, especially with the hype around the Sakamata shad. That minnow's been around forever. But there's a couple new products here that I think are going to rival that and exceed your expectations. And the first one is called the Steer Ride. This is offered by Galapagos. This is a 6-inch minnow bait and very well thought out for not only the rolling action, but also a very unique tail quiver on this one. It's going to move some water. It's a 6-inch bait, and they weight the bottom section and the front section more than the tail and the top section, essentially to keep the posture correct. So the big thing is this bait's not going to over roll when you put it on a jig head. It's going to be that perfect side to side rocking and rolling action. And you'll notice there's these wings on the back of it. And what that's designed to do is maintain a nose down posture while you're mid-strolling. A lot of these mid-strolling minnows, that minnow ends up strolling just like this. And I guess it's a little bit less natural, than your normal bait fish postures. So very unique minnow from Galapagos Tackle. I think Thorne Brothers is the only guys that carry these, so pick some up while you can. As we know, Japanese minnows, you can't get a billion of them, so get them while you can at Thorne Brothers. They've got some awesome colors in that Steer Ride. And then the other minnow they're offering from Galapagos is called the Zegra Shad. So you'll notice that's got a little bit different shape to it. And this minnow is designed to fish weightless on an EWG like a fluke. Has a really nice shimmy on the fall. And then this bait's also designed to just swim on a jig head. So instead of shaking that minnow with this one, you can actually swim it. And it's going to have kind of an irregular, natural looking swim. So the Zegra Shad and Steer Rod, you can find both of those at Thorne Brothers or thornebrothers.com.
In pretty late. Like, I saw Fish Garden Fry in the first week of July one year. That's the latest I've ever seen, like, spawn activity. It was first week of July. Water temps had been real warm for a long time.
Yep.
And I still saw it. But the big thing that I felt triggered that year was we had extremely high water all throughout the spawn. And the particular area that this fish was spawning in July is super flat, like river bottom stuff.
Yep.
So the current just blazes through the whole area when it's that high. There's no bank, there's no place with slack water. And I think those fish just grin and bear it in the trees. And then when the water comes down, then they're like, okay, now we can spawn. Like, they're just in there, but they can't do anything. Yep. They're getting enough food probably that comes by or whatever, but they're just stuck behind trees. I think that's what they do. That's when you get the late spawn, is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
There's no way they could have done it with the current water level in the area that they lived.
Do you want to do this instead? I'm gonna either need to turn
this
you
way
up
better.
or that way we can be a little bit, comfortable.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was talking to you and not the mic.
That's what you're supposed to do, is talk to me.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, like, maybe now we can keep that. If you keep it kind of on this side of you, even better, because you're talking to me this way. It's you're doing just fine. It's just a matter of force of habit on my part to save Cole a little bit of time on the post-production side. This slight side quest / sound enhancement minute is brought to you by Thorne Brothers. If you guys have not checked out the JDM selection at Thorne Brothers, you can go to thornebrothers.com today and get you some sneaky stuff, or you can get you some good old American made good like anywhere else. But Thorne Brothers, they've got it. Go find it there. And then get you a Vocelka rod as well, since we're enhancing the sound. How are we sounding now? Much better? That's what I thought.
I hope so.
Anyway, you were on a really good train, and I just wanted to make sure that the audience, whether they're in their truck, boat, mowing the lawn, that's the biggest thing, is if a guy's mowing the lawn and you're like
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I listen to these a lot while I'm mowing at work, so I get it. I get it.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So it's for
My
you
bad.
lawn mowing folk. No,
Sorry,
it's okay.
guys.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right, let's get back on the track.
Yes. Which was the spawning thing where they wait
Yeah.
till it kind of stabilizes.
Yeah, because those fish, that's where they live. They don't. There's certain areas where the fish just live there their whole life, and they probably don't even know what else is out there.
Yeah.
And so they're like, this is what we do to survive this. It's like little tribes of bass.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, they don't know about the bass over there in Stoddard. Unless
Right.
they randomly get thrown in a live well and meet one someday.
It makes sense, dude. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
What's the thing that grinds your gears the most? Like, nowadays. It seems like there's a lot of gears grinding. And what grinds my gears is all the gears grinding. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, it's tough. Like, it's a sport that lived our whole lives, like, committed to. And, like, so much respect and love. Like, I do not miss, like, a pro tournament. Like, the coverage. I'm following it every minute I can, every week, you know? And just to feel like I don't have that dream really anymore to go do that because I see how tumultuous it is. And, like, painful it is for most guys. Like, yeah, there's a handful of guys that are living the dream, but, you know, it's like kind of playing the casino. Is that going to be your reality if you
Right.
were to break through?
Right. Right.
Or are you going to be the guy that crashes out and burns?
I think that's the really, tough scenario about the sport, and I think that's what makes it different than every, I guess, other sport that I'm aware of. I don't know how bowling works. I guess so for all you bowlers and that kind of thing. But, dude, I mean, I've seen it. I mean, Noah Schultz is a guy I think that could probably do really well in a pro format, but it's like it doesn't matter how good you are. Everybody is so good now.
Yeah.
Or at least
Yeah.
a higher percentage of the field is really good.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain percentage of the field that's next level, it seems like, that whatever they do translates everywhere they go.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see that with these younger anglers, and you've got some veterans that are obviously still showing that as well. But what's your thoughts on that? Like, obviously you're not, like, that's different than probably the Cade that fished most of his life, as far as what you're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're really seeing, like, you're seeing the guys you talked about that are at that next level. We've always had that. Those are the superstars. Like, some of these guys are going to be the Aaron Martins. We've always had those guys.
For sure.
These are the new ones.
Yeah.
But here's the issue. There used to be a base level of where you could get a check in a tournament. And I just heard Seth talking about this, so maybe I'm not trying to just regurgitate the stuff he's saying, but I
you're
really
good.
resonated with it. It's that the guys that frequently cash checks now, there's just so many more of those type of guys. Like, the bar to get a check is so high, and the bar to stand out is so high in that. So it's like you can be a phenomenal angler, like one of the best ever in your region or whatever, and you go to this pro level and you're just like another one of these killers, like from their region. Like, you're all like in the same. There didn't used to be that many killers.
Yeah.
So now it's like, well, maybe I'll just stay here in my regional stuff and like make just as much money as guys that travel around the country and like get really frustrated and lose relationships and things along the way.
That's the thing about fishing is, like, it's I don't know any other sport that is as time consuming to master, to be at the top level than that. And I guess there's no other sport that is as time consuming in terms of probably how it affects your relationships as far as travel. And it's truly, it takes I don't know, I'm single, I don't have it figured out.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I've been thankful to be in a relationship for 3 years, but I went through a lot of those struggles, and it's still stuff that we struggle with. Just being gone a lot. It's tough on a relationship, and so it's tough to make those, partnerships last if you're going for this pro dream and it's not really paying the dividends.
Dude, I'd be so curious to see, like, because the national divorce statistic, is like, what, 60%?
I don't know.
It's like,
I try not
50,
to look at that stuff. I don't want to get more
somewhere
depressed about
between
it.
40 and 60%, right? So I'll kind of rush through this just to skip your depression, but like, if the national average is somewhere between 40 and 60%, I wonder how bass fishing, like if you just took that segment, if it would be higher or lower than the national average.
Oh, it'd be higher.
It would have to be.
Oh, yeah.
So what you're telling me is
God, yeah.
my marriage, my like, you're telling me my chances are better playing blackjack.
Probably a lot. Yeah. I mean, if you're going all
Like,
in.
just looking at those
depends on
numbers, I'm not saying I have an opinion on marriage, right?
Yeah.
I would love to be married someday, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-marriage, but that really paints if we're thinking logically and statistically,
Yeah.
it's a really dumb decision.
Yeah, so it's like, how bad, you have to kind of almost choose, like, and by back off, I mean, like, spending days on the water. Like, you could fish a pro circuit and just only fish during those tournament weeks, but are you going to be successful? That's the juggling act. Like, you're going to be competitive if you're on the water, like, every day, just like all these other killers.
Heck yeah, we'll make marriage work. We fish tournaments. The odds are way worse. Right? Or, well,
Right.
not if you're on your... Not you maybe. I guess to me, the best thing you can do is just be really upfront.
Yeah.
Because then, like, if things don't go, like, a certain way, then you can say, like, I didn't, like, I warned you, and, like, this isn't, like, and I haven't had anybody not understand that. If I'm super upfront, hopefully for the most part, but it's affected all of my relationships, fishing, because nothing else matters when I'm doing that. So I'm doing that for 14 hours.
That's super tough.
I'm gonna be doing it dusk to dawn and wishing I could do it later.
And you see it from their side, dude, right? I mean, I do.
People don't understand us. Like, Hayden Anderson and I were talking about this, and if he's listening, he'll get this. But, like, we are, like, there's no one like us. Like, there's a reason we have a special bond with other fishermen. It's because we understand each other, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
And how can you understand us? Like, it is so different than perception, and it's a cult. We were talking about this last time.
Yeah.
It's a cult.
Yeah.
It's like Scientology.
You can't stop it.
It's like Scientology.
It's
You
bad.
don't understand it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like worse than being a drug addict, I think, as far as the level of how bad you want to do it.
Oh,
I'm not
for
saying
sure.
I'm not saying it's bad. I love fishing. We
No, it's
love
drugs.
Fishing. But yeah,
It's drugs.
it's crazy.
I like fishing.
Like, you get cranky when you haven't been fishing
Bro,
enough.
Yeah.
You get stressed because you haven't had your fish. Your fish sesh.
Yeah, dude.
That's
And
like a drug addict.
totally. And it's like time to figure out the puzzle. Like, if I don't oh man. It's an addiction. It is.
It's severe.
I mean, to me, it's deeper than an addiction, though. Like, for certain people, okay? And there's certain people that stop fishing to save a relationship, right? To me, that's an addiction. And they decide that they want a different addiction. But there's some people in my mind, and I feel like I'm one of these people, and I feel like you might be one of these people, that there's nothing that can stop you from fishing tournaments. I don't
That
think you'll
part I
ever
agree with.
stop fishing tournaments. At least, you know, enough to scratch that itch,
Right.
whatever that might be.
That's where I'm at with it, is finding that right balance of I can fish tournaments. I don't have to fish them like crazy hardcore level to still like have really good tournaments and make a name. Like, you know what I mean? Trying to do that. I'm just not really in favor of doing the let me fish every freaking weekend. Like, there's some guys around here that fish like probably 40 tournaments a year. Like,
Wow.
I can't do that.
I
Like,
can't either. There
but
ain't
I
enough
think
time.
no matter where I'm at in my life, I think I can always make time for 5 BFLs and a handful of bigger team tournaments. I think that's reasonable. And if you have a good year, you can win $15,000 to $25,000. And that's
yeah.
like where I'm at, and that's how I feel comfortable. Like I'm addicted, but that's my compromise.
Dude,
I'll only fish 12 to 15 tournaments a year. They're going to be good size ones.
Dude, I think that's a more than fair compromise. And I actually compromised a little bit more than that yet, and it was more about money. But I think the 2 trails I was fishing I don't know how much your entries are, I guess, but you got to play at the level financially that you can, you know, afford to play. And I guess for me, I haven't been winning like I used to. So, yeah, I had to take a financial step back, fish one less trail, you know, kind of make, you know, an adult decision that I didn't want to make, but I felt like, you know, sometimes you have to make those. So, but I'm not done fishing. Still
Right,
fishing
no.
I'm just fishing one trail.
We're
instead
never
of
going to be
2.
done fishing.
Right, but it's like if you're not out, you feel rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I hate not being out on them. I feel rusty if I'm not. I feel like you're the type of guy who's never lets himself get rusty. You're
try
a
not to.
year-rounder down
I
here,
try not
dude.
to, but dude, sometimes
You're a year-rounder.
I am. Yeah. I've got like 2.5 or almost maybe 3 years. I'd have to go back and look.
Weren't you fishing off an airboat this winter?
Yeah,
Was that
ice
you?
fishing. We were ice fishing, but
Still,
I've gone
You still
like
took a
3
boat
years
out.
straight every month. Every month for 3 years straight. I've
You
never
caught a
missed
bass?
never missed a January, February, March.
you have to be one of few people in Minnesota.
I always just go get one. At least get one. I got some places that stay open, and I just go get one to say I did it. It's stupid, but
No, that's not stupid.
It's a
That's
fun little-
fucking- That's a beautiful.
it's a little challenge I put on myself.
It's a beautiful little tradition you got there.
Yeah, it's like the poetry of it.
There was a guy I know, Brian Wick. He was super about that, but he's just a little too far north to pull
Yeah.
off. I think that streak. But
Yeah, I'm in the perfect spot where you can barely do it, but you can still do it if
do you know
try.
anyone with a better streak than 3 years in a row, 12 months
I
in a row?
don't think so. Not around here.
I feel like that's a state record on the record. And it's disputable, absolutely, just like any record. So if you guys know anybody who is, catching a bass every month, 12 months out of the year, 3 years in a row.
Oh, there'll be plenty that say they are.
Oh,
now
yeah.
that you put this out
Just
there.
like their boat goes, like, yeah, my goal is 76, tournament loaded.
I got to see the pictures, boys. Come on, let's see the proof.
Yeah, internet speed's different than GPS speed. Pictures for proof. Make yourself a little calendar. You should do that.
That would be funny with
Cade's
just all the
calendars.
fish on there.
Oh yeah.
Every month is the fish I caught.
I think, like, for your girlfriend's sake, I think you should take each picture in a Speedo. Just one fish per month.
That'd be
One
rough. That'd be
Speedo pic
rough
per
in that
month.
January.
I wouldn't buy it, but you should probably keep your clothes on if you want me to buy that
I
calendar.
don't think anybody should buy that, let alone see that.
But no, that could be your Jude fundraiser.
Looks like I'm not going to be fishing the
Did you
June.
fish the Jude this year?
I did not. I think I'm going to try to get in that one next year.
I
It's pretty tough seeing everybody have so much fun, and Wyatt won a boat. That was so cool.
Totally.
I mean, that was my college fishing partner, and we lived together. And
You probably got a live scope, but I bet you don't have the scoping rod from Vocelka Fishing and Custom, designed to hit those targets right on the noggin on that live scope, whether you're fishing a 3-inch minnow all the way up to a 6-inch minnow, from a 16th ounce all the way up to a 1/4 ounce. This is the perfect mid-strolling rod. Visit VocelkaFishing.com. Check it out today. Scope straight or scope home, ladies and gentlemen.
That was crazy.
We're good buddies, and like that really hit home for me. Like, man, I need to get in this tournament because I could win a boat too. Like,
Totally.
you know, like
I got scolded for not being there this year. I chose Sturgeon Bay instead, but I think I'll fish next year too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they figure out a way to like expand the boat numbers or something, or because I think it's going to get to the point pretty soon here where they're going to have so many boats wanting to get in this tournament that's going to become like exclusive.
Really?
Yeah, like with the Bass Talk Live and all this stuff, you're seeing
Yeah.
more and more guys that are coming from like far away places,
That makes
and
sense.
they're upping the ante on the prizes and stuff, and like a boat, giving away a boat, that's gonna draw, like, now that the word's out about that. So I'm like worried, like, okay, this is gonna be one of these Texas deals where guys are like, they're trying to put like 500 boats. The river can't do 500 boats, so what are they gonna do? They're gonna have to make it like super exclusive, and it might end up being like a PGA. I think if they wanted to go that direction, it could be like a Masters type thing at some point. That would be my vision for it, but
That would be so cool.
then it would be like, dude, us locals wouldn't even get to fish it then.
Totally. Dude.
But if they want to raise the most money for St. Jude, like, I guess that's probably the way that they can make like millions of dollars someday.
Can I share a tournament idea I had that I don't know if I've ever shared on the record with you?
Okay.
Like, you know the Iditarod? Like,
Yeah.
dog sledding?
Yeah.
Like, what if you did that, like that type of tournament on the Great Lakes or river,
Oh.
where you start on X pool
Oh,
and you have to sleep in your boat, and you have a place that you dock up or whatever, and the only rule is like you can't leave your boat, and you have to catch a bass
Dude,
in
this
each
is-
of the Great Lakes, and you do it for like cancer research or something, and you make it like, dude, how crazy would that be?
yeah, that would be crazy.
Like, people would watch that. Like, if we're talking about making fishing a spectator sport,
How is it? So you
Like-
have to weigh in somewhere on your way through, or how does that work?
I think you'd have to have a cameraman the whole time, and it's more of like a
Catch, weigh,
exclusive
release.
PGA type scenario. Yep, and you'd have to catch, weigh, release it, and yeah, it's like there's like, you have to be a good boat driver. You have to plan your route and navigation to like where you're gonna fish on Lake Superior, where are you gonna fish on Lake Michigan, and then maybe there's like a day checkpoint break, right? And you split it in half. But then there's like that treacherous point between Superior and Michigan where the current gets wild, right? So maybe you can't cross during a certain time. That's going to cost you extra time. And it's a matter of, yeah, I think you could structure the rules a lot of different ways. Maybe you have to catch 3 bass out of each Great Lake, and you decide,
when you're good, like,
And that-
okay, I'm not going to upgrade this.
like,
I need to move to the next
make
lake.
a national, yeah, right? Like your
Yeah.
biggest 3 from each lake. That makes it freaking wild. And you maybe don't know what the other guy has.
Yeah.
So then it's like,
Holy shit. That's actually a pretty damn good idea.
I feel like it's a great idea. And then you have a boat company sponsor it. Like, I feel like Vexus would be a great sponsor. Or you have boat companies sponsor the anglers.
You
And
have
then
to
there's
make-
like an aspect of like, you have to have the right built boat for
Well,
this
the
thing.
only way you'd have to make a rule that they have to be bass boats, because otherwise everybody just run a walleye boat.
100%.
So no walleye boats.
In my
no
opinion,
Vexus
it has
walleye
to be a
boats.
bass boat.
Straight up bass
Yes.
boats.
Yes. And this is like, yeah, I feel like you could do it on river pools, locking too. Like
Yeah.
Ironman, like Bass Iditarod Challenge.
Only 14-foot
Great
flats.
Lakes. Like, think about it. You go, like, that's something kind of like a marathon or like a triathlon, like those things people train for.
The only issue...
Nobody's ever done anything like that.
The only issue that would probably make it never work, in my mind, would be that... Sorry.
Nope, you're good. I'm just tilting it. It's better that way.
The risk of somebody, like, dying or something, you know? Who's going to want to take that liability would be the problem.
There's going to be, like...
Or, like,
have to be
cancellation
radar on
days.
yeah, there's going to have to be an aspect of that, for sure.
Yeah, some intervention.
Or you're going to have a helicopter, like...
Okay.
You know,
that's the workaround. I can get with it.
But like to me, it's you'd have to make it big enough.
Yeah.
For that to justify a helicopter. But like that at that point, it's Coast Guard stuff, just like any other day.
Yeah.
So, they signed the waiver.
Well, put a letter to.
But the river,
Boyd
you
Duckett.
could do it. You'd start it on
Boyd,
the river.
Boyd will take it on.
You probably start it on the river and then scale it to the Great Lakes once you have the insurance policy money, right?
What if the challenge was to go to? Can you get to the Great Lakes from the Illinois River? Right?
I don't
Locks.
know.
Doesn't the Illinois River lock into the Great Lakes, or did they seal that lock for the Asian carp? I can't remember.
I feel like that's something I should ask.
Because like
you, Mr.
imagine if you went down the Mississippi River and then came up the Illinois River and got in the Great Lakes.
Detroit River. Or
Well,
like,
no, Detroit.
What about the one that comes? Yeah, the one that comes out of Chicago.
That's
You
what I'm
talked-
saying.
Yeah, the one.
That's
Renwick,
the Illinois
that canal-
River.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that. You could do. So what you're
Maybe the
saying is
Illinois-
a hybrid event.
The Illinois River doesn't run into Des Plaines. I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of shipping way.
I feel like you could do that on the TVA. You could do it on the Mississippi, up and down. So from pool 3 to pool whenever you can catch a bass.
St.
6
Louis to Venice. Try to catch
Isn't
a
that
bass.
like just a fucking shit?
Yeah.
Isn't that just awful?
Yeah, I think
What
there's a
about from
lot of
St.
stretches
Louis?
of garbage.
Yeah, what about St. Louis North?
I think there might be some fishable stuff in that area.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess.
Because you could do a golf course scenario where you maybe skip the bad holes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, next hole's a couple
fished
little
it.
just further away.
I fished a BFL on Paducah, the Ohio River, and I ran out to the Mississippi and ran up it a few miles just because I'm like, how cool would this be? Like, no one else is going to do this. How
Yeah.
sick would this be if I just went and found something, like, sneaky on the Mississippi and, like, I was down wherever Paducah is as far as the Mississippi. That's where I was, you know?
Right.
Like, so far down, but it was nothing but, like, gar. Just
Really?
crap fish everywhere.
I believe it.
It was insane. Like, there was no bass. No, I mean, it was just rough fish. So,
Big
yeah,
kitties.
that didn't work out.
Doesn't sound fun. So then you'd have to basically do it from what, pool 2 to pool. I mean, you could make that a 3-day derby,
You could go to 19.
and that you can catch bass
Excuse
from
me.
here to 19 is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Noted.
sure.
See, this is things I've never really talked to anybody about anything past maybe either 11 or 14.
Yeah.
I can't. Prairie du Chien, what pool's at?
10.
Yeah. I feel like not much south of there. I haven't heard much. So 19.
There's pool 13 is, like, phenomenal pool.
Is that by Lake Dubuque?
No, that's Savannah. It's the next pool below Dubuque.
Got it. Yep.
I know really very, very little information about 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, but I've been on 19. It was really tough when I was there, but from what I understand, it's coming back a little bit. They're catching some 15-pound bags now and then down there, so...
Noted. All
Yeah.
the zombies are down in 20.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's bass down there, too, but I don't fish down there, so... It's certainly not as good as Pool 8. Everyone would agree with that.
So how would you structure the Bass Ironman Iditarod challenge on the river then? Would you do 2 to 19 and then like you can pick a pool and it's just you have your first section from 2 to 5, let's say, and then like 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 19, and each section 5 bass.
Whew. That might take you a while on some of those lower sections.
Okay. 3
But
days.
yeah.
Maybe. It's just a matter of, let's say you have 6 days for a 3-day tournament. And you can only have lines in for maybe a day and a quarter. And you have a little bonus day. That you can either travel that day, or you can have a little fishing time.
I would fish, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wherever I was at.
2
I'd have
pound
to.
minimum.
2 pound minimum.
Is that a debt?
That makes it tough down on 19.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's bass, but it's
Well, and like I said, I heard it
a lot
was
of Kevin
coming back.
Shorts.
I heard it was coming back, but I don't know firsthand because I'm not super connected to the fishing scene down there. So
Seems like it just gets dirtier and dirtier and dirtier, right? Which is why it gets tougher and
Yeah.
tougher and tougher.
yeah, there's just so many tributaries that put siltation in the river. Once you get that far down, it's just compounding.
All them red states polluting.
I mean, you can really see it even from 7, 8, 9. There's a big difference between 7 and 9, and even 8 and 9. Like things are starting to change towards that more silted stuff because there's more tributaries, the Root River, the Upper Iowa River, and as you go down, it's just compounding all those other tributaries all into that, and it's harder for vegetation to grow. There's not as much sand anymore to like create sandbars, so it's all like there's still sandbars, but they're not as prevalent.
So there's more tributaries in 9 than there is in 8 than there is in 7. And there's more tributaries in 10 than there is in 9.
No,
Is
that's
that-
not what I'm
okay,
saying. I'm just
sorry.
saying, like, you get each tributary from each pool, and it all is just putting into that same water that's moving to the next pool.
That makes sense.
So it's compounding all that. So
That makes
as you
sense.
work
I'm
down
sorry.
the pools, it just is more and more soft substrate that's entering the system.
It's just more buildup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It just changes the environment and the way you have to fish.
It makes sense, dude. It makes perfect sense. And it's just crazy how much. Is it harder to navigate or easier to navigate the river with high water?
Oh, it's definitely easier.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I mean, especially when you start getting above that 10 foot, you can run a lot of places without too much worry.
Yeah.
We're still right now in that little under 8 foot range. There are still stumps that you can hit and things like that. But yeah, it's a lot easier. I mean, you don't have to worry as much about getting stuck on sandbars and things like that. So, yeah, it's one perk.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're just fishing BFLs and some team stuff.
We came back full circle.
Yeah. Of course. Unless you want to name a bass call.
No, yeah, let's not name a bass cult. I don't want to be Jim Jones.
No. Well, I mean, if we had a religion, though, what about a bass religion? Is that?
We went down this rabbit hole last time. The religion.
Yeah, so that's where I was like, we can get back on track, or we can get deeper.
Derail it
or
even
we can
further.
derail that even.
I don't know, dude.
Somebody's mowing the lawn.
Somebody is
Right
mowing the
now.
lawn, and they can't hear me. Is that what you're saying?
No, they can hear you. They can hear you.
Because I know we've had issues with me moving the mic away all night.
No, dude, you're just fine. You're not doing anything. It's just my job to help with that.
Perfect.
I have to do it to me too. I just don't have to tell you about it. But I have to do the same thing with me. But it's okay. It's okay.
It's all gonna be all right.
So is this your kind of go-to, Moon Man?
I thought it was just for the occasion, I don't drink that all the time. But I figured, you come into Wisconsin, you should probably have some New Glarus, and everybody gets spotted cow, so I'm like, let's get some Moon Man.
I got to be honest, I like Moon Man better.
I thought I heard you mention it one time on the podcast, too. That was part of my decision.
Corey gave me some Moon Man one time.
That's probably what it was.
And yeah, I'm not like this fancy beer guy, but I like certain IPAs like Foggy Geezer or, Moon Man. So anyway, thank you, dude.
Yeah, dude.
My question is scope and current. And
Yeah.
like, how has scope changed things on the river? And I think that is something that, you hear a lot about scope, and a lot of it you maybe don't hear about utilizing it correctly as much, in a river scenario. And it's something that, I don't get to play with enough.
Yeah, I mean, scoping in the current is something that I have not mastered by any means. And frankly, I think it's just super difficult if you're really in the current. Like, say you're fishing a wing dam and there's high flow, it's pretty hard to scope in that kind of current. You kind of have to resort back to fishing in that circumstance and reading the current with your eyeballs. You can't read a surface level current seam on live scope. You're going to have to read that with your eyes. And you can look at that scope all you want, but the more you focus on that, you're moving seams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now your cast angle, I don't know. I feel like it's always a catch-22. I think live scope makes us try to fish an individual rock or a fish or something like that. Like, you see a fish, you're trying to throw at it, but you're not, without that read on the current, you're not even making the right presentation to that.
Yeah.
So you're kind of better off a lot of times just like focus on my target and make my presentation, and don't worry about. I do use it to see, like, yeah, there are fish up there.
That's
That's where they're at. This is the cast I need to make now. Now that I've confirmed that they're there, let me fish.
That's more like, so when I say scoping, I guess, to me it's utilizing that thing as a tool, whatever it might be. And I think when people think about live scope, they think about video gaming, shaking a minnow, targeting individual fish with scope. But to me, it's so much more than that. Where I'm at, we have grass, and a lot of offshore grass. So those fish hide in that grass. So we utilize that scope to make sure I'm hitting the grass, because maybe I don't have that current seam up top, but I'm not utilizing that scope and targeting an individual fish, but I'm like paying attention to it to see that current's hitting, but where is the actual structure? Because sometimes where the seam is quite a bit of ways from, or quite a bit different than where. Have you noticed that too? Like,
yeah.
And that's what's
a lot of it's wind driven too. Like, if you have some wind, it really changes those seams, how they appear on the surface. And flow too. If there's a lot of flow, it'll push the seams, push them deeper down
current.
And it's you have to understand that too, for sure.
That makes sense. And the other thing is in practice, you're probably looking to not always catch all the fish. So does it help you in terms of seeing how many are on a wing dam?
Yeah, for sure.
But it doesn't help people necessarily catch them.
I still sting a few fish every time. I always do.
Oh, of course.
I want to see what's there quality-wise.
But you're maybe not scoping them, but you're looking at your scope to see, oh, shit, there's 10 with it.
Yeah, if I catch 2 and one's a 4 and the other one's close to 3, and I see a bunch more on the screen, then I'm like, if those are all that kind of fish, then this is something,
Totally.
But you still got to sting a couple to make sure it's that right ballpark category. Mm-hmm. If I'm catching a bunch of 12-inchers, there's usually not a bunch of big ones around that.
Right. Have you messed with the perspective bed fishing thing much? I feel like that's where scope could play on the river, is in the spawn.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
definitely a deal.
Nitty gritties there, but
it's no secret. I mean, everybody's
anymore.
Using it now, and
it's kind of the deal for that. So
the biggest thing on the river is just being in the right zones at the right times, and that's where the margin for tournament success still lies.
Yeah.
It's just really being on the ball and what's going on.
Yeah.
Which areas are going to pop, and that's what people don't really do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I remember last time we were talking about the river, you mentioned a lot of wild rice, I think, starting to come up, and that kind of being a factor. I guess, since we last talked, has your style evolved as far as how you approach the river? And then has that rice scenario gotten worse, or has it changed in any way?
Nope, the rice is still the big deal. In the later summer periods, you go out there right now and the rice is just starting. It's low, like, you think of it like corn in a field.
Sure.
It's
Yep.
almost is. It resembles corn, honestly.
I don't know the difference.
when you're fishing in the tall stuff, like, it looks like you're in a cornfield. So this time of year, it's like that knee high by 4th of July deal. That's where the rice is at, and it's not even out of the water in a lot of places. Because like you'll find rice that's like laid over, and then when the river rises, it actually sucks it underneath the water, and it's like eelgrass, except absolutely sucks to get your bait anywhere near, and it's garbage.
And eelgrass, a lot of people complain about that. So
Yeah,
wait till you try this stuff.
Submerged rice is like the worst thing.
Oh God, it is awful.
You do not want to like try to fish that. So
I hate flipping it.
Yeah, and I'm talking like current, where you can throw a bait over top of it, but then you get hung on it, and it's terrible. But it's by the time we get into August, September, then it's fully developed, and then the rice creates like gigantic islands, basically.
Yeah, current seams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what's crazy about the river is right now the whole body of the river is like all flowing in a direction unimpeded by vegetation, but then as soon as that rice tops out, chokes out with weeds all around it, now you're pushing current off to the sides of that island, and it just changes the dynamics of everything out there.
Yeah.
Where the clean water is, and then you have, curly leaf pondweed dies off, so then now you have all these open spots.
Right.
And then that stuff fills in with other stuff. And like, it's crazy what moves around like through the season.
It's like if you had 6 pinball machines kind of stacked on each other. That pinball's gonna. Yeah, instead of playing one machine, you're playing 6, depending on, what the water level is. That's what's crazy. You got a buddy you got a Lockmaster buddy yet?
I got one guy that I've talked to, like, when there's small buddy tournaments or whatever, he works at the one lock, and cool. I'll call the Lockmaster, and it's usually him that answers, so it's like, hey, man, what's going on? How you doing? Normally, it's just all business, like, hey, looking to make a southbound. But when he answers, and I know it's him, I'll be like, hey, dude, I'm down here at this point. Like, how long is that barge going to be? And he'll tell you, like, on the nose, like, info that you can't necessarily always get when you're in that all business mode, Yeah,
dude. Yeah.
But I'm not like, oh, I got this guy's personal cell.
Yeah, dog. Yeah,
none of that kind of stuff. Like,
is there a proper way to address a Lockmaster? Or
no, I just think
address them.
I think the best way is to address them like a person.
Like a human being?
Yeah, like a person. But
yes,
you're just
Lockmaster.
Being super polite and respectful, and I don't know, I try to be as nice as I can to those people because, one, they're helping us out tremendously, but two, you don't ever want to, like, get a bad reputation to the sport because most people don't give a flying fuck about bass fishing, and we're just living in their world trying to do our thing, and we don't want to piss those people off and make them think badly about our sport. We're too small for that.
Don't piss off the guy who runs
so that's a little
the
rant.
door.
It's a little rant,
but weighing.
I've seen a pretty high-profile fisherman from this area that I will not name, but I've seen him act in an embarrassing way in the lock, a very embarrassing and unprofessional way that was, quite frankly, sickening to watch, and that just makes me upset. So that's why I ranted a little bit.
You're good.
Because you just don't want to piss off those people that are,
for sure,
give our sport a bad name.
It's not a good look.
I care a lot about the sport, and I don't want it to be tarnished. And
I agree, Cade. I think it's
a lot to say about a lock situation. But
well, no, there's been some stuff that's gone down in a lock. Wasn't there like a brawl?
Yeah, there was regional last year. I don't know the details about that.
Oh, there was one last year?
Yeah, at the regionals down in Quad Cities last year, there was
a brawl in the lock.
I think so. There was a crazy guy that got into like multiple altercations on the water that day, and then was like trying to fight people in the lock.
Whoa.
Yeah, that went rounds on the internet. I'm surprised you never.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
There was pros sharing videos of it and stuff.
Oh shit. Maybe I seen it. I don't know. I see so much crap nowadays. But didn't Ish Monroe and
oh yeah, that's that tale as old as time there. Poche and Ish.
Yeah,
Down on Kissimmee Chain, I think it was, or Toho.
didn't Tharpen-ish get into it on, like, up here in a lock?
I don't know that one. I don't know. Could have.
Yeah,
People get into it in locks all the time.
You won't be seeing me brawling in any locks anytime soon.
And I'm not as worried about anglers fighting other anglers. I think it's bad when the anglers are fighting the lockmaster.
Ooh.
That's what I'm getting at. I've seen it.
What's crazy?
Like screaming matches.
Oh my god. Dude. I mean, I heard a lot of people got locked out in the open last year.
Yeah.
Like, and guys who showed up early.
People get tense in those situations, for sure.
Like, I don't know if anyone got tense. I didn't hear anything about that. But, like, when you're showing up at, like, 10, 11 a.m. and weigh-ins at 3 and you don't make it on time.
Yeah, that sucks.
Holy shit.
That's part of the risk.
And you're AOI. Like, can you imagine showing up that early to I've never had that happen.
That's one of those things, like, you hear those stories. It's never happened to me either. But it always, like, mind screws you. Like man, that could happen to anybody. But more often than not, when people get locked out, it's because of their own foolishness. Not being on top of it, not being aware of what's going on, what's around, because you have time to get to the lock and get through. Like, you need to be there when you need to be there.
How do you know when you need to be there?
Well, there's a point at each pool when those barges are approaching the lock where they're considered committed to that lock. So once they reach that point, which is usually like a mile,
yep,
maybe a little bit more, 1 to 2 miles below or above the dam on their approach, that's when the lock is there. So you need to beat that barge before he gets that close. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're looking at your apps, you're making phone calls to the lockmaster once in a while throughout the day. Hey, I'm fishing a tournament. Well, don't even say that, actually. Just say, I'm looking to make a southbounder in the next couple hours. You know, what's it looking like for barge traffic? And they'll usually tell you, like, oh, there's one up by Trempealeau. He's probably going to be a couple hours. You know, that's what you need to do. You need to check in, figure out what's around, and then double check on the marine traffic app to, like, make sure that what he just told you, like, backs up on your, like, okay, yeah, I see what he's talking about on the app. So I have 2 sources of information that just told me the same thing. I feel like it's fairly reliable.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what you go off of, and it's like, you just make sure you're there before that barge and you're good.
Yeah.
But the situations like that, sometimes barges break down in the locks. That's the one thing, like, or some idiot that works on the barge probably had to go up to the grocery store and pick up some food or something like that, you know?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because he didn't bring enough food for himself. You know, you just never know.
Right. Why don't you tell him you're in a tournament?
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that. If I really wanted to. I tried that one time and it went over like a wet fart. Like, I was just like, hey man, I'm fishing this tournament. And it was like a big one. And so I even said, like, I'm a local, I live here, like.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I thought that would be like a good idea, but I think it would put him off. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, that was kind of douchey. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I live here, help me out. But
so, just,
you can beg and plead all you want to, but at the end of the day, they're going to tell you, like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. If there's a barge in there, you're screwed.
So how to avoid a barge 101. First off, don't give off too much of a derby scent. B, know the number to call somewhere somehow.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
Oh, you can
Army
Google
Corps
it.
Engineer?
Yeah, it's all out there.
Okay.
I do it all the time. For some
Google
reason,
that shit.
I never, like, save the numbers on my phone, so, like, every time I needed a call, I would always, like, Google it.
That's
and
fair.
Finally, I saved them on my phone. I'm like, why didn't I do this, like, years ago?
That's fair. I've never called them, but obviously I don't fish too often on the river. Maybe one tournament a year usually. Sometimes none. So I'm curious, I guess, the minnow thing on the river, I guess maybe we're not allowed to talk about that, but I feel like on these reservoirs, like talking to Nick Dumpke recently, they're starting to get conditioned to the minnow to the point where, like, it's not the deal to win. It might be a supplemental deal like catch you a bass or two, but
Hey guys, wanted to share with you a sneaky little trick I found when I was at Thorne Brothers the other day. This is a new Japanese bait that came out, and this falls into the gravity trend category. You guys have maybe heard of a Depths cover scat or a Yamamoto Yamatanuki. These are weighted soft plastics that have proven to be very effective at catching bass, not only just in general, but especially pressured fish. Well, this new deal that just came over from Japan, Thorne Brothers got these in. It's called the AK Punch. It's made by Issei, and you'll kind of notice it looks a little funny. Looks like a scrotum, if you will, or some private parts. And they make two sizes here. I've got a 2.4 and a 2.8. Thorne Brothers has both of these on the shelves, and that's what I picked up. And rumors of a 3.3 inch coming out. But the big thing with this bait is it's completely different than the cover scat and Yamatanuki in terms of its action. So looking at a close-up, this is the 2.8 here. What you're going to see is it's got this voluptuous tail there that looks like a ball sack. And what that tail does is it actually vibrates when you pull it. So think of that weighted soft plastic having a nice erratic fall, and then when you pull it, it's going to vibrate your rod like a chatterbait. So you're putting a Ned rig size plastic into cover and generating reaction strikes from it. But looking at the Japanese and how they're rigging it over in Japan, something I wanted to share is they're adding a nail weight into the sack, and they're putting it right there just like that. So that's a 16th ounce nail weight you're going to put, perpendicular in the scrotum there. And what that does is it's going to cause this bait to backslide, okay? And it's also going to increase that vibration when you pull it away from that fish. So if you think about it, you're able to skip that up under a dock. It's going to backslide pretty erratic. It's going to fish heavier than a cover scat. And then when you pull that, there's a fish behind it, you pull it away, and then it's going to fall right back into that fish. So if you're looking to pick up probably one of the sneakiest bite-gettingest lures out there, Thorne Brothers just got these in. It's the AK Punch from Issei. Pick you up a 2.4 or a 2.8. Remember that nail weight trick, and then there's various hooks you can use. So right here we've got a screw lock hook, so that's actually going to tear up less plastic. So if you don't want that nose to tear on the bait as much, definitely recommend that Masayuki hook from Decoy. It'd be a 1/0 for the 2.4 and a 2/0 for the 2.8. Or else the KG worm from Decoy, you're going to go down in a size, so number 1 and then a 1/0. So the 2.4 versus the 2.8. So the 2.4, the baby size one, is designed to fish on spinning gear. So get you a Vocelka fishing in custom, medium or medium light action, up to 12-pound test fluorocarbon on this one. And the 2.8, you can fish on a lighter bait caster up to 16-pound fluorocarbon. So consider, this your spinning rod version, this your bait casting rod version. And that rod I like for this bait casting version is going to be Vocelka Fishing and Customs MB736. So that's a lighter, medium, heavy 7-foot rod. So get you some of that, some 15-pound fluorocarbon, teabag you some bass this year. Pick you up the AK Punch from Thorne Brothers today, and don't tell nobody.
not like the key deal. And
I was wondering about that, but I was like, I'm not going to say anything.
yeah, filming a podcast. But I feel like up in Minnesota, it's still pretty fresh. And
yeah.
I guess I feel like that's probably a similar case on the river. Is there?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that?
It's still a really good technique.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I feel
but like you can't just pick up one and start catching fish. Like there's definitely tricks to it.
Sure. Obviously, just like any lure on the river, if you're in current, I would assume there's an angle, those types of things to it. And, I've definitely learned that there's something to a minnow, whether it's, being able to keep it in the strike zone better, the action, how its posture, whereabouts sitting, all of that. But I guess obviously you've got everything for forage, from small little thread fins probably to bass fry to gizzard shad. And I guess obviously they typically eat smaller stuff in the spring and move towards bigger stuff as the season progresses. But I guess, what have you seen with the forage over the years, and what have you learned about some of that stuff?
Sure. I mean,
And as far as targeting it and replicating it, maybe it's the minnow thing. Maybe you're throwing too big a one or too small a one sometimes too.
exactly. Usually in June, and it spreads on into July a little bit, especially when we've got this high water. Usually the smallmouth, well, and largemouth too, but the current bite is a lot of smallmouth this time of year. Like the heavy current, you're going to catch a lot of smallmouth. Not very many largemouth in that heavy current yet. It's a pin minnow deal. That's
Sure.
what it usually is.
Interesting.
Post spawn, it's just, I don't know if it's perch fry, walleye fry, stuff that spawned earlier in the year. You get those little pin minnows. That's what they're on typically. But every 5 years or so, we get this, whatever the conditions are right. It's usually, I think it's associated with a mild winter. And we've been having a lot of mild winters recently, and last year's was no different. Like it got really cold, and we thought it was going to be a normal winter, but then kind of just ended up being a pretty mild winter again.
Yeah.
And those shad survive. So this is starting to become more and more prevalent in this June period. Those smallmouth post spawn will start chasing those gizzard shad.
Big gizzard. Like, how big
Some
are
of
we
them are,
talking?
yeah.
How big are we talking?
They're the ones that you see are like 5-6 inches,
Yeah.
So, because that's how big they're going to be until the next crop comes. Those are last year's shad, so they're all good, fully grown size.
Cool. Huh.
Yeah.
So you're saying this year...
So that opens up some other patterns, but those fish are so hard to chase. That's the one thing about it. It's like, I know those fish are doing that, but they're not in big numbers.
Yeah.
It's a big fish game, and it's really unreliable. So
Sure.
that's why, largemouth typically, for 5-fish tournaments, typically dominate at this time of year, because there's just more 4 to 5 pound largemouth available. And the smallmouth, it's a lot harder to catch multiple over 4 in a day of fishing.
Is it because they're skinnier from spawning, or is it
No.
because they're burning more energy in the current, or is
It's
it
because they're not grouped up.
Got it.
That's all it is.
Like,
they're
just
out
the big
there.
ones aren't, or just
They're
the
out there.
smallmouth in general?
I think the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, schools of average size ones can be huge schools, but
Do the
you're not going to
largemouth
win a
on-
tournament with 13 pounds.
That makes sense. Do the largemouth get on that gizzard shad deal?
Not as much this time of year.
Sure. More later?
Unless it's in dead water, deep water,
Okay. Sure.
deep dead current backwaters, so
Yeah.
they get on shad. And there are shad in a lot of those places.
They kind of live there?
Yeah.
Stay there?
Yes.
You think that's what helps them survive and get...
Absolutely. Kind of like we talked about earlier, like that's where they live.
Yeah.
Those fish are in a different category than the ones I talked about earlier. The ones earlier were the low land, like river rat, bottoms fish,
Yeah.
and they get
More
blown out.
traditional.
Yeah, they're the tribal ones. And then we get these deep lake fish. And what's goofy is it's like these deep lake fish that live in those lakes year round. Every single fall, they have to make room for all their cousins that come in from the river to come in there in winter with them. And they're like, just think of how you would feel. You're like, you little fuckers, like, you guys weren't in here all year. You're going to come in here and crowd us out in the wintertime, and then you leave again.
Right.
Because there's like a split population in those lakes. There's the fish that live in there year round, and then the fish that only winter in there and then beat it.
That's what's crazy about the river, is it's so diverse.
Yeah.
So many different scenarios. And I guess, with live scope and with pressure mounting up over the years, what's some techniques you've maybe employed Or how has that evolved, I guess, maybe since we last talked or just in general?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff you can do with live scope. Like, this is a little sneak that shouldn't probably even drop on here, but this will probably be the only thing. If you put it in perspective mode and you're fishing current, you can see how the current comes through an area. You know, whether you're fishing in the middle of a channel and there's a log on your screen, you can see a log. A lot of times there's debris on that log, like stringy grass or something. You can see that grass moving. So what that enables you to do is look at other objects, and like you'll eventually establish patterns. It becomes a habit. It's a habit forming thing. You're looking at that on the screen, seeing movement, and you start to notice, like, well, that object is blowing this way from the current, and that object over there is blowing that way from the current. So you're seeing the eddy. You're not seeing. It's not like you're seeing a swirling water on your screen, but you're seeing evidence that tells you what's happening there.
And are you noticing that that's different than that surface current?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Sometimes, yeah.
Wow.
But to know that there's a small eddy there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the fish will show themselves on the screen too, you know, so you see the eddy, you see the fish just kind of sitting there, or they might dart off and then they kind of come back. And,
is it like a direction of fuzz coming off the like piece of structure kind of thing?
A lot of times, yeah.
Like it goes fuzzy this way and
a lot of times
fuzzy the other way.
A lot of times it'll actually look like a fish swimming.
Really?
Sometimes, like when I'm fishing,
because it's that.
Yeah.
There's that much.
Like I get tripped up a lot of times looking for bedfish, on weeds that are moving like that, on logs and stuff. I'm like, oh, is that a fish tucked behind that log? And then
and it's just a piece of grass flickering.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that makes sense.
You can tell. Sometimes it gives me pause. Like I'll stop for a second to look at it, and then I'll be like, oh no, that's just grass. But for a second, you'll think it was a fish.
Do you have to turn your gain up to get that return?
No, I usually like, on perspective, I kind of like to turn my gain down.
That's what I was going to say, because I usually like to do that.
Yeah, and I even take the color gain down a little bit. I think when you have the color gain too high, it washes out a lot of stuff. So I run it more in like the 50s.
Yeah.
And the gain like upper 50s, low 60s.
There's some guys I've heard doing some sneaky stuff, like you hear a lot of guys bring that color gain, color limit up, and I've heard of some guys bringing it way down, and then just allowing them to use their gain as kind of a primary adjuster. So that's interesting. Yeah, in perspective, I've definitely found you want to just run your gain settings. It seems like a lot lower to get a better picture.
Yeah.
But, that's so cool. How about techniques? Like with Big Gizzard Shad, obviously it changes. Like, for example, like Thorne Brothers just got, a couple of these in, and I know I was in there the other day, and they said Ike and Ellie ordered a bunch of these high rolls, and it's funny, since I started talking about it, I've gotten a few messages on, Instagram and whatnot, just thanking me, and a couple guys winning tournaments on this little bugger. And to me, this is like perfect, smaller minnow scenario. The big thing with a high roll is, or with a smaller minnow, is it's definitely tougher to get, it seems like, the right action out of a smaller minnow than, let's say, and maybe the big minnows are this way too. I don't have enough probably experience throwing like a 7-inch minnow, but like the 3.5-inch minnows from my experience are tough to make roll and have a tail flicker to them. And I guess this is the first one I've thrown where I'm like you are over shaking it. Like it's kind of like jerkbait, right? When jerkbait's the best one used to be a husky jerk, and guys used to throw them on 6 to 6.6 medium heavies just to get the right action out of them and like jerk them like pool cues. I guess this is like when the Lucky Craft came out, and they realized like My jerkbait's doing its thing. And you can see there's like a little divot in the head. And that's
Yep.
where your ball goes. And then
Okay.
that channel there is where your hook point goes.
I see some of this rigging stuff on Instagram a lot of times with the using wire and little balls and stuff. And so is that what we're getting into here with the ball thing?
What's nice about this is you can just use a ball head.
Oh, okay.
So that slot is where the hook goes, and your ball head just rests in there.
Dude, that's interesting. Because I just saw a video recently of somebody showing the right way to rig a Sakamata is what they told me, or what the video told you.
I watched that.
And yeah, so I was like, huh. I was like, that looks stupid, but at the same time, I totally understand the concept. So I'm like, I'm going to try it. And I have been catching them really good doing that with a variety of different minnows. So I'm like, yeah, they're onto something there. Like, that's actually correct.
It's a sneaky deal, and I guess what's
yeah.
interesting is the Sakamata shad's been out forever, right? And it's the one here. But a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of baits that have been designed post Sakamata shad for a specific purpose. And I guess that's what's cool about Japan. And I guess there's a couple companies, Galapagos being one of them. They're making two minnows that, to me, are very different. And I guess forward thinking, building off of what we've learned about a Sakamata shad, right? And I'm curious. They got this one that's like super easy to roll. The only thing is definitely designed to perform on a lighter jig head, like 2.5 and slower. And then this, I'm curious, to me, when you say like a big, like gizzard shad, 5 to 6 inches. And this is what you've seen kind of the minnow thing go to on the more pressured fisheries, is a smaller one and a bigger one, right? And
that's got that worm style tail.
Yeah, so a really kind of a more water pushing tail, I would say. That's going to push more water than a fork tail. But the big thing is it rocks like steadier than a Sakamata. Like, you shake that Sakamata, that thing's seems like it's a twirling ballerina. And I think the guys who are really good with it really understand the cadence and the shake with it to keep it steady. And I guess this thing was designed to be very steady, and the posture kind of nose down. But yeah, it's interesting. You're seeing a full colonization of all of that. I'm sure the boys at Strike King are all over that. Obviously, the Z2 is really what started this.
The Z2 is like still my go-to.
Oh, I mean, if you're testing a bite and if you're seeing if that's a thing, that's the thing to throw.
Yeah.
If they're eating that, it's ideal, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to take it off. But
100%.
It's interesting. I talked to guys in like Texas or talking to Nick Dumpke, and it's almost like they're so off of it down there that like you ain't getting bid on some of that stuff anymore, So it's like that's when you got to get a little more cute, and I'm sure the river's not quite there yet.
Yeah, no, it ain't.
It's still pretty. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. For sure.
How small a minnow can you get by with out there? Because, like, I mean, on the Clearwater Lake, we throw a really little one.
I've been throwing a 5-inch and smashing them.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think a 3.5 would be, like, my baby size that I would want to throw.
Got it.
But, like, yeah, you could definitely throw really small stuff and catch a lot of fish. I don't know. If that's your jam, like, that might be good in fishing for smaller fish, but
right.
Well, now we're talking about your event coming up.
It'll be interesting. I don't want to talk too much about it because I like being fresh. I've done well when body of water's kind of new to me. Yeah, I got 3 days, 3.25 days or so, and yeah, we'll go see what's up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go fish high water bass. Go do high water things. What's nice is hopefully I don't need to worry about ripping off my lower unit as much.
I don't think, it shouldn't be too bad.
So that's the good news.
You still got to use some common sense where you're running. I mean, some of those stumps, especially, I told Adam this on the phone the other night. He was doing the pre-tournament right up. When you get in those areas where the runouts, we call them, places where channels are dumping into backwater lakes, or like big flat open areas on the lower end of the pools, that water's all getting pushed up on a sand flat, so it like pushes the water upward, and it shallows that water. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes even when the water is super high, when you get in those type of areas, because of the gradient of the river, you're closer to the bottom. Like, you'll be like, all right, I can cross this sandbar when it's 5 foot. How is it possible that I'm hitting it when it's 8 foot? Like, I've hit sand.
Creating that much of a change in
Yeah.
water. Yeah.
Well, and just, you'll know when you're out there, there's places, not so many on pool 8, but there's one I can think of in particular on pool 7. There's a big closing wing dam going back to this backwater chute, and you come over that wing dam, the flow just rips like you wouldn't believe over this wing dam. You can feel it with the boat. There's a couple places on pool 9 like this too. Like, you drop and you don't come back up. Like, you drop. Yeah. You're going into that backwater and you're taking an elevation change going over that wing dam. It's pretty freaking crazy.
I seen that in 4.
So that's something you have to think about with the dynamics of, like, where you're at determines if you're safe to run that shit at high water. Like, the low end of the pool, like way at the bottom down by the dam, there'll be like 5 foot of water over a lot of those stumps, But when you get in those mid sections where the current's going up an elevation before it drops into that next pond,
Yep.
that's where you see that potential to hit stuff.
That makes sense.
Once it gets up to 10, though, you can just about run anywhere and not even worry about it. There's a point where it busts over all the islands. And once it's running over the islands, like, you can pretty much run anything.
You're talking them like islands in the middle of Goose and all that.
That starts to happen at like 11 or 12 foot.
Do you think it'll get there by
No,
Tuesday?
I don't think so.
Do you think they're over? Because
they always over forecast.
I haven't even looked since yesterday or this morning.
We got a lot more rain today.
Rained all day, my whole drive here. So
they usually over predict, and they've been saying 10, around 10. Then we got this extra rain that's probably going to add another foot, so it could get to 11. But just depends. We'll have to look at the maps in the morning and see where the rainfall came, because that determines a lot. If we only get an inch of rain like that, we can absorb a lot of that water. But when you start seeing the 4 to 5 inch rain, particularly if it's like Wabasha or north of there, that's when we get big water. What does it say? 10.4?
Yep, by Tuesday. It's going to be, right around.
That's a pretty solid, that's good high water for summertime. It doesn't get that high.
Is that good for the fishery in your mind?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Good. Okay.
I think they get they get opportunities they don't always get. I think they get chances to eat terrestrial life a little bit.
Extraterrestrial to them?
Maybe. Like birds and rabbits and stuff that's trying to nest on these islands, and all of a sudden they're trying to stay on the nest, but the nest is in the water. And
think they've ever eaten rabbits? Like a little baby rabbit?
It's possible.
See why not.
It's possible.
What's the weirdest thing you think a bass has eaten? The river bass have eaten the weirdest shit, I bet. Right?
Yeah.
A river bass eats a weirder snakes. I bet
I think they would. Yeah. They must not do it very often, though, because you see them things just... They have no care in the world. They just cut right across the slough. You'd think if snakes were a hot and heavy thing for the bass, that you'd be seeing them get blown up on a lot more. I've never seen a snake get blown up on.
I can't say I have either. I haven't fished in Florida.
I mean, like, you would think a pike would eat them.
Right.
They must just not...
Yeah, devilfish should eat a snake.
It's probably too risky for the fish. They probably can't... It probably kills them once it gets inside of them or something,
You ever eat a snake?
No.
Me and my buddies did once. gardener.
Oh my god.
Cooked it over a fire.
Are you kidding me?
Didn't taste too bad, actually. It's
Oh
not
my
the
gosh.
smartest thing I've ever done.
I can't imagine coming to the decision that I'm going to eat a garter snake.
You know, you get a bunch of freaking probably 17-year-old testosterone-filled idiots with, that alpha male like one-upping each other, 5 dudes at a fire out in the middle of nowhere, probably drinking a few beers when we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You get that little courage in you of like, I'll eat the snake. I'll take a bite. I think I just took one bite. It tasted like chicken, if I remember right. It wasn't that big a gardener, so it's not like it was like eating crawfish.
Sure.
Work for 2 minutes
Guess
to
I'd
get a
try
little
it.
bite. I like crawfish.
Oh yeah. I fuck with crawfish.
I like crawfish. Why can't? Do you ever harvest them?
No.
Is it legal? Can we do that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That seems like a lot of work too, but I guess if you
I
have the
heard you
traps
put
or
a
whatever,
trap,
yeah.
they do it for you. It's
Yeah.
just laying the traps.
I know something about that rusty crawfish. I don't know if you can do it here on the river.
Are
I
you?
don't think you can, but
Well, Brad, Kenta, and I were thinking, like, are them rusties good to eat? Because, like, the mud bugs, like, the ones you eat come from absolute. Like, you see them crawfish farms, they take
Yeah.
them, it's friggin', you're eating them, like, fucking
Yeah.
mud.
Yeah.
Like, so you're telling me a lake rusty doesn't taste better than them mud bugs?
well,
we're
no,
eating?
I'm saying it probably tastes amazing. I'm saying I don't know if it's legal to.
I think that is probably the number one thing that we need to find out after this podcast.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to tell me,
Yeah.
or we're going to need to hop on the Google machine. Do rusty crawfish taste good? B, can we eat them?
Lord knows that you could go to Leech Lake and have a heyday.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I saw places in that place. I sucked in that tournament, but I definitely saw in multiple places, especially in the back, like by reeds and stuff. There'd be like fields of them just like crawling on each other on the bottom. Like you'd see them with your eyeballs.
You ever been to Vermilion?
No.
Way more.
So yeah, you'd think
You
that
crank
they
bait.
should let you harvest them then if it's legal. It's
that's what
got
I'm
to be
saying.
legal, right?
I think
Just
it's just
nobody
you
does
can't transport them to a different lake.
Okay.
Because
So
you
we're
can trap
transporting
them.
them to the table.
Like, yeah, I don't know. No, we're Googling this
Oh
shit.
my gosh.
We're doing it. So, for those of you who are wondering, we are Googling, can you eat? Actually, let's do the voice
Just-
thing. I think you can I can voice it.
Just
Hold
do
on.
regulations in Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Wisconsin and Minnesota crawfish harvesting regulations.
Nailed it.
In Minnesota, the crayfish or crawfish harvesting season is open from April 1st to November 30th.
That's
If-
my birthday. We're going on my birthday.
We're going crawdad hunting. I'm down, dude. I'm in. A person with a valid fishing license can take up to 25 pounds of live whole crayfish for personal use. A permit is required to harvest more than 25 pounds. Selling live crayfish for bait or aquarium use is illegal in Minnesota. Crayfish traps must be clearly marked with a tag indicating the user's name and address. In Wisconsin, crayfish can be harvested with a fishing or small game license, and there are no bag or size limits, except on boundary waters with
there you go.
Minnesota.
Damn it.
Where the season is May 1st to March 1st. Live crayfish cannot be used as bait in Wisconsin except on the Mississippi River between the Wisconsin and Minnesota shorelines. Here's a breakdown of key regulations. Minnesota, season April 1st to November 30th. Limit 25 pounds live whole crayfish per person with a fishing license. So once they're dead, you can have. So you freeze them.
Yeah.
I don't even
I'd
know.
much rather have them live,
Fresh. Oh, yeah, live boil. Oh, yeah, that's,
though. Yeah.
that's what you want.
That feels so like wrong, but it's so right.
Yo, so a
Poor
permit's
things.
only required for harvesting more than 25 pounds. illegal to sell live.
Well, that's sell. Well, if you're not trying to sell, you
I ain't
just
trying
want
to
a
sell
meal.
no crayfish. We just trying
It
to have
sounds
us
like
some-
you're good to just go catch a pot of them, throw them in the live well, and go home and eat them.
All right, so now we need to find out how much is a crayfish trap.
Yeah, we'd probably get one from China for like.
Introducing the chicken rod from Vocelka Fishing and Customs. This is the perfect rod for swim baits, chatterbaits, and big hair jigs like the chicken that's become so popular in Minnesota. This is a 7'6" heavy action rod with a moderate fast taper. The perfect action for landing those fish on a long cast, cover in water. Introducing the chicken rod. Visit VocelkaFishing.com.
$2.
How much it? Oh,
Sorry, I
No,
laughed
no.
right into your phone.
no, it was good. How much? Hold on. Crawfish trap for sale. Bass Pro Shops crawfish trap $12.99 at Cabela's.
Man, we got to start a crawfish tournament league.
Absolutely.
No scope.
Oh man, yeah, Deadliest Catch Freshwater Edition. Let's go, baby. Crawfish.
Could you imagine that there'd be like bent rod pattern crawfish? Like you saw me here last week. I know you did. You know. Now
Well,
you got your trap set right next to mine. But guess what? He's in the box.
Yeah. Get in the box, baby. You're going to the show.
No, but you got the reference there to the Matt Herron, right?
I did.
He's in the box.
Yeah. What is that from, though? Exactly.
Matt Herron, Randall Tharp, Bullshit. No, they were on Norfolk Lake in that Elite Series tournament.
I remember seeing the clip of
Like
it.
they got in a big argument. It was hilarious. Two killers just going at it.
Those guys are both old school.
Yeah.
Drop the gloves. I got my money on Tharp, but
Yeah.
Shields $21.99.
Okay.
And then I think you just put like cat food in there and
Low
like poke holes in
investment.
a cat food can, and then they just
Why isn't everyone in Minnesota doing this?
dude, I don't know.
Sounds like a fun family activity.
Make crawfishing great again, even though it's never been great. Make it great for the first time. I think we like world hunger might exist, but it shouldn't in the state of Minnesota with the amount of crawfish we've seen.
Yeah.
Like if you're starving, you need like $30 and you can probably live for quite a while.
I feel like maybe it would help the fishing at Leech Lake be like not as tough.
100%. They ain't as full. That means they're more hungry to eat your lure. Because I know them smallmouth are stingy.
They must eat like 500 crayfish a week.
I don't know if that's why they're so stingy. Because
Probably.
but then mille lacs fish would be more stingy. And like,
There's that many in there too.
yeah,
I've fished there, but only
there
really-
was. I don't know if there is as money anymore, but there's more minnows now.
I was gonna say
Mille
you.
lacs.
I hear you mention on your podcast a lot about how the minnow
It's
bite
crazy.
takes off there. So
Well, there used to be, I think, just a bait shortage in there, and crawfish really helped that lake survive. I think for a lot of years, crawfish and bug hatches, and then there's tulipy. I think that has always kind of been depending on mild, harsh. I don't know how whatever affects that. So, but now the perch, shiners. I mean, there's a lot more going on there right now than there usually has been, and you're seeing it. The lake, it's healthier than ever.
need to get some gobies in there.
You're damn
I'm
right.
just kidding.
No, I'm all about it.
You are.
Yep. I think
If you guys lived in Illinois, it would have been done years ago. The guys down there are so crazy with the shit that they do. Like,
really.
oh yeah, like
Is there gobies and all them?
No, I'm
Okay.
not saying that, but like I talked to guys that like went and got their hands on like F1s, or they were like plotting to do that. Like, we're gonna get F1s and we're gonna throw them in these shithole lakes, and just like hopefully there will be a few like guys are trying to do stuff that's probably not legal
That
but-
makes sense.
to try to help their fisheries. Like, it's like a militia, like we're going rogue doing this. I've just heard rumblings of that stuff, but
Well, I got to be honest. Like,
but
from what-
Minnesota's like a lot more strict, I feel like, too, you know.
And there's a lot more reasons to not stock gobies in Minnesota than, let's say, Ohio or
if
Indiana.
you got caught doing something like that, you'd be like probably going to prison.
I think those shitty lakes in Ohio, Indiana, like those really need the gobies. Like, let's put some food like in those lakes where 9 pounds takes second.
Yeah.
13 pounds wins. Illinois.
I think
Ohio,
sometimes though you just got to call
Indiana.
a spade and say that the environment isn't suitable. You know, like that lake is just, no matter what you try to do, it's never gonna be good enough. Because I mean, whether it's pH and
I think it's the blue collar factory shit that's from Illinois to
Yeah.
Ohio between you and me.
yeah, probably.
Like, think about it. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
And then even like, if you didn't have reservoirs, well, I guess you don't have that kind of industry maybe in the good fishing areas. Have you noticed that? Is there good, maybe rivers?
Tidal rivers.
Yep, tidal and rivers.
I mean that James River deal, they were catching them super industrial type stuff. But then again, I don't think Richmond's like a huge town, is it?
I have no idea.
Well, it's
I
probably
just
pretty
know
big
there's
though.
a song about like the Richmond,
Yeah.
north of Richmond.
It's pretty big actually, isn't it?
It is.
Is that the capital city? It's not, is it?
I think it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Fuck,
yeah.
and it's definitely
it is.
big.
Because I know I
I
grew
feel
up in
stupid.
Richmond, Minnesota. That's the only reason
feel
I remember
stupid.
that. No. What's the capital of Delaware?
Dover.
Very good.
Don't send me down this. I'm gonna make myself look bad.
Hey,
I used to know them all.
I
like-
was good. I was geography buff
Yeah.
back in the day. I'm probably a little rusty, but soft plastic topwaters aside from frogs, like it's something that I know some certain river guys really are getting to know and like. I know Wyatt likes a certain one that him and I've been talking about, but this one is something that I know in Japan they smoke them on, like on the river, and it's like a floating fluke topwater. It's YG Labo Witch Lana. They make it in a 4.3 and a 5-inch.
I've never heard of that.
No, it's a little different, isn't it? But I guess the best way I can describe it is it's got like those little wings on the front.
Yeah.
Those act as brakes, like allowing you to walk it really tight and stop it.
Oh, it's got that.
You can tear it.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
you get kind of that crawler effect then with it, sort of, or
not really. It's just when you twitch it, these act as a brake, so it doesn't glide like a
Okay.
fluke would, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it acts as a stopper, so you can keep it walking where it needs to walk, so to speak. But yeah, it's upside down like that.
That's the best way.
Yep, that's the way it was
Really?
designed. Yep.
Huh.
Yep, flat side down like a boat keel. Or no, this side down.
Okay. That's not what you were
Flat
saying.
side up. My bad.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because that's the way that makes sense, the way the eyes are facing and everything.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a little sneaky river bait potentially.
That is actually pretty badass.
Yeah. Are those colors okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I think so. The big thing is a shorter EWG because I think you want them joints to.
Oh, you're putting it on that kind of hook?
The 5-inch is a little bigger hook, but you'll have to play with it. I haven't had the right scenario. To me, it's a river special.
I think I got an idea for it.
Yeah, but you'll have to let me know. Thorne Brothers got them in. Yeah, cool kind of sneaky company from Japan.
I'm on the line through that shit.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
That's the deal on that kind of style of bait, in my opinion. But, of course, you're taking grass out of the equation. But typically, if I'm fishing minnow fish, they're not really... They might be in grass, but it's usually grass I can fish over
Yeah.
top of with a treble hook.
Interesting, because to
But
me...
I'd use a real pretty finesse, like little treble hook on that probably.
See, that's interesting, because to me, what I thought would make it maybe special to you is the ability to get it through grass
Okay.
versus like a spook. But I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the treble line through to me is really
I have
enticing.
done some shit with that.
Oh, I know there's some stuff to that.
That's made a lot of money for me.
I
There's a
believe
treble
you.
hook fluke
Oh,
style
yeah.
bait.
Yeah,
you know?
that's something I do.
So I just see kind of, it would be the same technique but different.
Yes, kind of probably you could probably make it dive a little bit, but it's gonna stay
Yeah,
floating,
I'll
stay
play
up
around
more.
with it.
So yeah,
I'm a tackle junkie.
well to me it's just kind of a different look or a different presentation. Like if you're around, yeah, kind of rig it a few different ways, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I thought of you when I saw that thing. But do you jerkbait like throughout the summer, or is that more of a spring and fall deal for you?
I know you can do it. I've heard people catching them on it this time of year, but yeah, to me it's spring and fall.
I always
and
switch
it's
to a
a-
fluke once it gets past the spawn.
Yeah.
Like for me, on a river especially.
I'm really into a lot of worms right now. Like I'm throwing the Strike King Menace worm.
Oh,
Fish,
like a
and
speed one?
Yeah, I'm like swimming them,
Yep.
but it's super versatile. Like I can swim it, but then I can also just like slow fish it like a Senko. And that is like freaking money.
Do you weightless it or do you put a little weight in the
That's
front?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Like, yeah, I think the lightweight is the way to go. Like, the lighter the better. Maybe even weightless.
I was planning to throw a speed worm this week with a 1/8 ounce weight. and
Yeah,
just
I think
fish
it'll get bit, but if it's not getting bit, maybe take the thing off.
it. Noted.
Maybe put one of those rubber cones on it.
I got one of them. Noted.
So
I
yeah,
like that.
that's been good. But as we get into the biggest thing is when those shad start emerging. You know, that the young of the year shad. Right now, the only thing is ones that survive the winter, so they're all big. But in July, late July to early August, the fish are going to switch to a shad-based diet, and it's going to be 3-inch shad. You know, like the ones that are just starting to. They're always going to be focusing on the largest shad that are available.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
if it's early, they're going to be on those like 2-inchers for a little bit. But as it starts getting later, you'll see there's different sizes of shad. Like you'll find one area and all the shad are like 2 inches, and then you go over to another area and they're all like 3.5 inches or 4 inches. Like there's like classes of shad,
That makes sense
and you got to find that right class of shad.
for the bigger
So
fish.
but what I'm trying to get at is this time of year we're more in that crayfish bluegill time. So they're on the worms, they're on the bluegill imitating shit. And as we get later, that's when that deal you just showed me, that's when that comes into play. It's when they get to that minnow shad diet.
That makes sense. That makes sense. What do you notice about shad migration and sun versus clouds is the biggest thing I'm curious about.
Yeah, and you know, admittedly, I'm not a super big expert on the shad. I don't fully understand them, to be honest. I just look for them, you know. Try to find them with live scope and also see them visually with my eyes.
What about as
But-
far as a zone on the river? It seems like
Yeah.
there's enough of a aspect to them that there'll be a hotter zone.
Well,
than
yeah.
another.
So I think the biggest thing is a lot of those big gizzards. I think they can spawn on like shallow sand points and stuff in the current. So you do have shad that like are current driven shad.
sure.
But I think the biggest group of shad on the river comes out of those back dead deep like lakes and bays where it's those are the wintering holes.
Yep.
That's where the biggest population of shad are.
So you would say that the majority of shad would rather be deep and out of heavy current.
Yeah.
Like
Majority,
that,
but-
ideally that's where they want to be.
But then yet if you go down the main channel in the middle of the summer or like the late summer, shad are everywhere on the main channel. So that clearly there's ones that like the current and ones that don't.
Is that
But-
because the current's pushing them though? Like, is that because they can't swim up it, or can they all
No,
swim up
I
it?
think they can. Yeah, I think they definitely can migrate up the river.
Yeah, because they do that every fall or spring, depending how
Yeah.
the river or dam lays out.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the shad live in those winter areas, and more of them survive the winter because they have a better a better setup. They can go deep and get in more oxygen, or get out of that super cold zone. So naturally, since more of them survived, there's going to be a better spawn in those areas for those shad. So there's going to be more shad there, but that doesn't always mean that they're the biggest ones.
Right.
But they're usually the earliest ones. So I think a lot of times you get some groups that do get big in those deep holes. I think the shad spawn happens in dead current before it happens in fast current, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Warms up faster.
So that a deeper spot with less current will warm up quicker than a shallower spot with current.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So then, as we progress into the fall, it seems like there's a big push of those shad will get out towards the main channel. So they leave those marinas, and that's where you're going to find the fish in that September time frame, is like between where they spawned and the main channel, like sandbars and stuff like that, going out that direction. But again, I don't fully understand the life cycle of our shad, because you don't see the shad spawn. Like, there's no such thing as that, really.
Yeah, that's
as far as
a
a bite goes. Obviously, it's a thing. They're obviously spawning somewhere, but you don't witness it. You don't.
Right. And I don't even witness shad up where I'm at, so.
Yeah, you guys don't have any, do you?
No, and I think that's a big challenge that, I face, anytime I get to against a person who's used to shad, is just me not being necessarily as used to that. But sounds like I won't need to be too on it.
Yeah, this
right now,
time of year is not very shaddy.
Which is good.
Like I said, there's just that one deal with the big ones, but those fish are traveling in small wolf packs, and it's hard to do anything competitive with them unless you get like the perfect day and just get lucky, kind of.
Yeah. Dude, I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can wrap it up.
Anytime. How are you doing? Mostly is
I'm
what
good.
I was checking on.
Oh, no, I'm good. Whatever.
Time.
Whatever direction you want to go.
I'm good.
A little after 11.
Okay. So how about weightless baits, like in current? And is that something? I know certain people are really into that and certain people really aren't. I know you're the type of guy who you seem to have a style and you kind of stick to it and you run a lot of water. And I feel like I'm a guy who likes to fish a tube a lot. And then I've started to learn that, kind of there's a really nice bait that kind of does that in between, and it's that gravity bait category. And I guess just want to pick your brain on, I guess, Senko to that kind of style of bait.
Yeah.
How much does that play for you in, your arsenal?
I definitely, that's a weakness for me for sure. I don't have a lot of experience throwing all that stuff. I've thrown a little bit of like some of the gravity stuff, like the two-way. I've thrown that a little bit, but I've only really used that stuff when I've been at other venues.
Yep.
Like when I went to St. Clair, I got a lot of that stuff, and I got a lot of confidence doing it there.
Yep.
But here, I haven't really found a time when I've wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Like I know where and how I would do it, know exactly, and I know I would catch the shit out of them. But the number of fish I'm going to go through to get a quality fish is not worth the number of baits I'm going to go through to do that.
Makes sense.
To me.
Yep.
That's why I don't really do it here. Because I don't feel like I need to do that to get the quality bite.
Yep. That
But
makes sense.
maybe I might be seeing it through a weird lens that I shouldn't be. Maybe I need to be thinking differently about that.
I think it probably depends on the scenario.
I think it would be something where it's like, okay, if I know they're still here and they will not bite, then maybe we go to that.
Are we talking like dice or are we talking like
Any
cover
of it.
scat? Because a dice, you can catch 200 bass on
I
one
guess
dice.
I'm more talking about like dice, yeah.
Dice, you can catch 200 bass on one dice.
With
If you rig it right.
with
Yeah.
the Nico hack or
A
what?
Nico hack or a wacky stopper, yep. Or a screw lock if you use that right. So you just have to get something behind that hook so it can't pull that plastic out because there's not enough plastic there for them to be able to leverage and throw it. So if you just get something in there, yeah, you can catch 200 bass on one. To me, what's probably what I see more of a player is like a cover scat or something like this being probably more efficient, just due to the fact that you don't need to keep it in the column and you can really let it do its thing and it doesn't get hung. But I don't know, I'm going to start playing with it a lot more. I've really enjoyed the cover scat, and then I've been just catching the crap out of them on that AK punch, and I caught them earlier this spring on the river on that, but I feel like it's a really good maximize that spot lure is probably the best way I can describe it.
Have it as a cleanup after you've already caught the aggressive big bait eaters.
That to me is what it's really, really effective at, and I think it'll be interesting with like a Champions Tour. To me, that's maybe more something you need to do than not, but I could see it going two ways. Depends how long it takes.
Right. And
then like for a 5-fish scenario, is do you get a bigger bite that day doing it? I'm sure there's some days you do, and some days that you need to run with that frickin' spook as fast as you can.
Yeah.
You know, or frog.
There has been a few times in my life that I can think of where I knew that there were big ones on the sand drop that I was fishing. This was on Pool 9. That sand drop doesn't even exist anymore, but I knew there were big ones there, and I kind of jacked up the spot right away. Like I caught 2 big ones and then lost a big one or something like that.
Yep.
And it was kind of done, but there was still a lot there, and they're big, and they weren't wanting to come up and eat topwater. They weren't biting the sea rig. Like, that's where I could see, like, because I did pick up a drop shot with a little 4-inch weenie worm on there, wacky rigged.
Yep.
And zipped it up there and caught like a 3.5. So something different, but that's like river at finesse. Like, yeah, it was finesse fishing to a river guy, but that wasn't like, this stuff's like a whole nother level. And I would definitely not be scared to throw it around if I knew I was fishing around quality fish.
Yeah.
I just don't want to waste time like
catch a bunch
catching
of pound and
dinks
a half
on a dink bait. Like,
it happens.
but if all that's there is big ones, I want to throw it.
I've seen it in a scenario where there's current, a neck down leading into a hole where you threw a Senko and it moved too far. You threw a jig and it fell too fast. And then the big thing was it's a neck down little troll bridge. Then like there used to be, I think, a beaver dam there because there's a big log jam at the bottom. So the other thing was is if I threw a jig, it would get hung. If I threw a drop shot, it would get hung. I threw a cover scat, didn't get hung. So I feel like the current did the right thing to it, but yet it had enough meat to get to the fish. And I caught every single one of them.
That's cool.
But you throw a Senko, nothing.
Yeah.
And you throw the other thing, and you get hung. So to me, that's like the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing I felt like I could throw in that scenario. But like on the river, if we're talking a wing dam or something snaggy, where you need to throw that bait up current and let the current take the lure most efficiently to the bass, I feel like that might be something that is heavy enough to like not have the current completely move it too much, but yet light enough where it hovers and the current really lets it do its thing.
Right.
And I think, yeah, I have a lot to learn on that, but I've seen enough light bulbs to know that there's something to it, especially if there's current. So I just haven't spent enough time, like, the problem is too much current. I feel like it's not as much. Like you have to throw it in the seam then.
Yeah.
And really let it do its thing. It's a weird I think people have a hard time with it because
Right.
of that.
I like throwing that stuff around grass more than anything.
I feel like that's where
Like eelgrass edges, you got a little island of eelgrass that sticks out off a main weed edge. Something where they can get around the backside, the front side, all of it. Usually good clear bottom right there, clean water. You just throw a Senko up there next to that, and so that's kind of been the way to catch those fish. But
Sure.
this might be another supplement to that. Especially you get in certain areas of the river, like Pool 5, Weaver Bottoms, like stuff like that gets a ton of pressure.
Oh yeah.
There's like huge schools of fish out there, but they get twerked on, man. Like, so I could see where something like that would get an extra big bite or two.
So the other thing is like in practice for that event, I'm telling you about that light bulb moment. I caught them all in practice 3 days prior, every single one of them, because I knew it was that good a spot, and I knew that someone was going to find it, and I knew I found it early on in practice, and I knew when people found it, I didn't want them to think it was as good as it was, and I was going to figure out how to catch them, again.
That's cool.
But I didn't throw the scat in practice.
That's a bold strategy. I like it.
I mean, maybe it cost me.
You have to think
I
that
had
way,
third
though,
place
outside
in
the
that
box.
tournament, so maybe it cost me. But I guess I don't know. But pressured fish definitely seems to be effective. Like
Yeah.
Japan, it's the only technique that's like they seem to still catch them on. Like that doesn't, like they were kind of off the minnow train over there.
Yeah.
Like that phased out. I guess.
Yeah, no, I hear you've been mentioning that on podcasts.
Which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
It's not that crazy to me, though.
It makes sense.
Because, like, I mean, there was when I first won my first BFL win, I was throwing that suicide shad, and I promoted it like crazy, and people were like, dude, you didn't probably even catch it on that. You're just, trying to promote this stuff. I'm like, no, dude, I'm promoting this heavy because I'm like super jacked and believe in this. And it was like so goddamn deadly for me. I heard from some other people that they liked it too. But just for me, there was something about it, man. When I had that in my hand, it was just lightning in a bottle. And then it just died on me.
Really?
I don't even use them anymore at all.
Isn't that weird? There's a couple baits
and
like that for me too.
I barely even throw any like jig head swim baits. I know they
I don't
still
either
work
much anymore.
other
Unless
than
the water's cold.
Yeah, like then I'll throw like little stuff like easy shiner type stuff. But and that honestly, like that baby Z2 has replaced the easy shiner for me, and the full size Z2 has replaced like a 3.8 Kitech or any competitive brand of that for a 3.8 like swing head or whatever, swinging shad, whatever you want to call them.
I agree. Same.
Like I don't even throw those anymore. I throw minnows.
Same. And
So my point is, the minnow thing died, or the swim bait thing was like cracked to the bass and it died. The minnow thing's like cracked to a bass. Yeah,
gonna die.
That's what it does.
I'll tell you a story. I just seen it. I guess the only time I would expect to see it is in the late fall or early spring, right? Where a swim bait, in my mind, would outfish a minnow because of your ability to typically fish it and slow roll it on the bottom,
Yeah,
right? Or they just
but you can
get
do that
on
with
it.
a minnow.
You can, but like a swim bait smoked a minnow in my boat. My buddy,
Really?
yeah, scoping with it. Like I shook 4 minnows over him, and then he'd throw his easy shiner and catch him.
It's cool.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
and
you're
this is
still
the
gonna have
minnowiest lake around us.
Yeah,
So I just wonder, is it?
you're
Like,
still gonna have those little windows.
You're
in
gonna
your
have
bait.
days.
Yeah.
You're gonna have windows. You're gonna have days, or the swim bait's coming back, baby.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, it's always gonna be a staple bait to everyone. I
Absolutely.
mean, you go down to like Pickwick Lake and like you get in that tail race stuff and you look around and see all these locals and like everybody's throwing like a swim bait on a big jig head. Like and they've been doing it for 20 years, and it still
Still catches
produces
'em.
big ones. Like yeah, it's never gonna stop. It's just,
I've
I
been
don't know.
throwing it less.
but you notice there's a noticeable change in how well they eat the bait, and like how the bait's ability to draw. You look at the percentage of fish that see that bait to the number of fish that actually eat that bait. And I feel like when a bait gets hot, it's like a very high percentage of fish that see that bait will eat that bait. But then once the bait like gets into that phase where the swim bait got, it's still a really good producing bait, but it's like now it's just like any other bait. You have to apply it right, and then you have to fool that fish to bite it. Whereas before, the bait was kind of doing the work. You didn't have to fool them as much.
Right, especially a Kitech, I feel like is one of the, like, if you're a beginner angler, it's a great bait to start with because you throw it and you reel
it in.
Have you ever had to, like, that's key. That is key, is to just make sure you're reeling it at the right speed. If you're on the bottom, maybe stop it once in a while. Like, but it started as like the high quality angle, like that high class. It started as like it was the deal for the guys winning, and then it trickled down into that main population, and that's when it started to not be as good, when everybody was doing it.
Right.
But yet they still eat a frog on the Mississippi River.
Yeah. But that's the same way. I mean, you used to be able to go and have a huge school and a mat, catch like 30 fish out of a school, and they'd all be 3-pounders, and
That's cool.
you still get that every once in a blue moon, but more often than not, like you get 2 or 3 bites on it, and then it shuts down, and you gotta like punch them out, and you know what I mean.
So you gotta flip. You gotta mix in more techniques now to maximize
A lot of times.
that mat.
Sometimes they don't want it punching either. Sometimes it's just like, well, this mat's done for the day. Like, we'll maybe come back in a couple hours and maybe get 1 or 2 more out of it, but
Right.
it's just like, there's more there, but they get wise to that frog.
Oh yeah.
Real wise.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So river flipping, I guess. Historically on a lake, like there's a big like weight and speed scenario with flipping that I feel like I go lighter than that when I fish a river.
Yeah.
Like, is that something like versus like, let's say you go to Tonka, like you're flipping milfoil on Tonka, you're flipping a
3/8 and a half. Oh, you're going 5/8?
3/4 typically.
Really?
Yep,
Wow.
flipping on Tonka, or those scenarios in the river. I feel like because of current, and you're typically fishing probably shallower
Yeah.
than 6 feet. You want a little. I always like a little more hang time
Yeah.
or glide or whatever it might be. I'm always probably. I typically, like, I'll throw a 1/4 ounce on a lake too. Like, I'm not maybe as freaking hit him on the head as some guys, but
Yeah.
what's your kind of thoughts with river stuff, like Texas rig jig sizes? Is
3/8 ounce is the go-to size.
Yep.
But I've been fishing a lighter Texas rigs a lot lately, like 5/16, 3/16 even.
Yep.
But I've always, one of my go-tos for the last like 5 years has been an 1/8 ounce, just little 4-inch Senko type bait,
Interesting. Pegged
Yeah.
or unpegged?
pegged.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't catch them on that fucking thing.
just like little.
I catch them weightless on it, but I do not catch them on a weighted Senko, like a Texas rig.
But a small one.
Was it? I don't understand what it does. Like, I like it
I don't
on a
know.
jigworm then.
Just snakes around through the grass. It's stupid.
It is stupid.
It's like it is like your jig worm, but like you have to.
but it doesn't
We can't
get a jigworm through the shit.
Yeah, it doesn't work in eelgrass.
It's a Florida jigworm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's mostly for eelgrass fishing.
While he's rocking a piss, I'm going to show you guys this Matatachi Anitas minnow. You can see it there. So this is a jerkbait that has 3 diving depths to it, and you can adjust those in the jerkbait. So for you scopers, I think that's going to be super effective. Making sure you're staying above those fish or making sure that bait is getting to them effectively. I'm actually going to pull out. This one might work a little bit easier. So they make a slow float and a high float. These are at Thorne Brothers. This is made by Matatachi. This is a new brand from Japan. They're making some super innovative kind of hard baits and soft baits. And this one's brand new. I gave one of these to Ryan Kiki for Vermilion, and he smashed them on it. But you can see there's these wings on it. And right now I've got it on the deepest setting, but you can also just... I can't see if I'm doing it right here. But you just adjust those wings, and then you can actually make this jerkbait go right or left by adjusting those wings. So I've got it on the right hand setting, I believe. So if you're fishing like a riprap bank, you can actually make that bait go right back into that riprap. But if you're scoping, good news is you see a high flyer, you can adjust your bait quick and hit that fish and not get below it. So to me, it's a super versatile, scoping jerkbait. Even if they're not eating a jerkbait, much like a glide bait or a swim bait, it's a really good drawing tool and it's a really good practice tool. So for you folks that like to scope or you jerkbait folk, this is the Matatachi Hanitas Minnow. You can find them at Thorne Brothers. And you got like 6 jerkbaits in one. So you can buy 6 jerkbaits or you can buy 1 jerkbait. And this one's pretty cool. ThorneBrothers.com. You can order them online or you can stop on in there. Their selection is amazing. And if you're looking for a rod to throw that Hanitas Minnow on, the Vocelka Fishing and Custom, he makes a jerk and twitch or else one size up from that. Depending how you like your jerkbait rod, depending, what you like to hold in your hand for a rod. No homo. And, now I'm going to pee. And we're going to let the river rat get back to his spot.
You gonna rock one, bud?
I'm going to rock one, bud. Yep. 2 fingers. Shit. I can't get it back in the box, but you'll have to let me know which color you like. I brought 4 for you to choose from. So what is the main thing you have to do for work tomorrow, would you say? Like, what's the day-to-day look like?
Well, I'm subbing this week for the daytime engineer, so I got to do a lot of the stuff that he does, which is, like this week I had to change some filters on some air handlers. Like, that's not something I normally do in my normal day-to-day, but that's kind of the stuff I'm working on. And, we're having a lot of issues with humidity and stuff in our building right now, especially with all this rain. Like yesterday, some water leaked through the roof. And so today I had to get up on the roof and found that there was a drain that was clogged. It was the weirdest thing. There was a water bottle and then a tennis ball on each side of the water bottle sitting perfectly on top of the drain. It was like a sign from the aliens.
Yeah.
It was creepy. I'm like, what are the odds
What
of that,
are the
like,
odds?
setting up like that? It was like a symbol almost. And I'm sitting here like, I know nobody's been on the roof. And last night it would have been so, like, gushing water right there. Like, there's no way that stuff would have stayed. And, like, as soon as I barely touched the tennis ball, it rolled right off.
What?
So I'm like, that was put there by the water, and it just spun around in circles above that drain and, like, ended up like that.
Think so?
Yeah.
You don't think it's like a microcosm of Stonehenge?
It could be. So, yeah, I don't know. That's my day-to-day conspiracy theories and, like, aliens.
I love that. What's the weirdest shit you've ever witnessed on the river? Like, you've spent a lot of time on the river.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest shit you've witnessed with your eyes?
Oh, I can think of, there's 2 that come to mind. The first one, I was fishing, I was in the Black River. It was like right at ice out. There was still a lot of ice in places, and I saw something floating in the water that looked like a leg.
What?
And, like, it just didn't stop looking like a leg as I got closer, and it like definitely was a leg, like a human leg.
Yeah.
Except, so I'm like staring at it. I'm like, that can't be real. I'm like analyzing it. I'm like, in the water the way it was, and it had a black trash bag wrapped around the end of it,
Oh my God.
but like the foot part was sticking out.
Holy shit.
So I'm like, what the hell? And I get up to it, and I'm like, God, that doesn't look real. It can't be real. But you always hear people say, like, when they find bodies, that it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
So that was going through my head too. Like, well, maybe this is one of those situations where it's like, it looks like a mannequin, but it's actually a person. But finally, I got up the courage to tap it with a rod tip, and it was like, ting, ting, like clearly plastic.
Oh shit.
So then I'm like, okay, it's a mannequin.
Okay.
I was freaking out though.
Dude, I would be freaking out.
Because I know people that have found bodies, like
my
here in La Crosse. Like, yeah, it happens. So I was like preparing myself for like, this is gonna be it. It's my turn now, I guess. It'll probably happen someday.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got a lot of good years ahead of you. You got a lot of body finding.
So
ahead
that
of
was
you.
weird. So somebody probably was trying to be funny or something and threw it on the ice and let it melt or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they got me, and I posted on Facebook so some other people, because I didn't post right away what it was, because that's like the sarcastic,
selfie
like
with
snarky person. No, I just posted it, like a picture of it floating in the water, and then just said WTF and posted it. So like people,
Oh
I
shit.
left it open.
Yeah.
I didn't tell everybody right away that it was a
Smart.
mannequin.
Yep. Yep.
Which, looking back, that's kind of like, if it was a real human, that would be fucked up if I posted it on the internet. You know what I mean? On Facebook, like, oh, here's a dead person.
But you knew it wasn't.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but yeah, people were freaking out a little bit because they thought it was real, and I'm like, it was a mannequin. The other one was, there was a guy on a paddleboard, completely nude, just like, I don't know, must have been having a hell of a trip on something in the backwaters. This dude was just living life, like,
Just naked as fuck.
made no effort to like conceal himself when a boat was clearly right there.
Sticks out.
Yeah, I didn't look too long. Like, that guy's definitely naked.
Yeah. 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 It's not a chick.
I just kept on going.
Yep. It's not. I mean, usually.
There's a lot of crackheads in La Crosse area.
Is there?
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. Like, I don't remember it when I was a kid like that, but like I don't know. I don't want to get all like city politics or something, but
You get.
there's a island called Huska in La Crosse, and one of the mayors decided that we needed to have a place for the homeless people to like be,
Really?
to keep them. They wanted them
Yep.
out of the downtown area
I
because they
gotcha.
were pissing in parking garages and all this stuff. So they just started putting them down there on the
Huska?
island, and
Uh-huh.
like they gave them some, like a little bit of amenities, like there's water available, and people come down there and give them stuff and food, and you know they had programs to get them tents, and became like a giant tent city down there. And it was just, they decimated the island. Like, there was drugs, people got murdered down there a couple
Holy
times.
Shit.
Yeah, it was like
Huska.
really bad what happened, and then they broke that all up, and it's still, all those people are just like dispersed now throughout the city again, and it's
I
just
gotcha.
it sucks, you know, what's happened to the town, because it didn't used to be like that. But so you
Well,
never know, like, so that's how
didn't
you
know
see
that.
weird shit out there.
Yeah.
Mostly is related to like drugs and drownings and stuff like that.
That makes sense. It's
Clayton,
wild.
my buddy Clayton, just in the Prairie du Chien BFL, said a guy was out in the middle of the backwaters, like literally a mile from any kind of real shoreline. Like, he was out in the islands, no boat, nothing, and he was in his underwear, shirtless, and just like wandering around in the mud flats. And at one point, he like laid down in the water and like rolled over. Like, what kind of drugs was that guy on, and is he alive today?
Dude, I don't know, but it makes you think, like, that guy never loved bass fishing, or just never found that
Yeah.
thing that makes him tick. So he resorted to crack. I mean, to be honest, without bass fishing, maybe I would be a crackhead, man. Maybe I'd be living on Huska Island smoking hookahs with the Huskas. You know?
Yeah,
Who knows?
it's possible.
Hopefully not. Hopefully I'd find a nice desk job. You know, live out my days in misery.
Yeah. Bass fishing sounds better than that.
You're damn right it does,
Yeah.
Cade. You're damn right. So, like, with your goals, you mentioned, you know, kind of taking a step back. Like, do you still have, like, some ambitions and, like, some things or, like, a path in your mind?
Well, you know, I look at this year as kind of being... I think after this year, I need to have a couple years before I try to do any major traveling again, because what's really happened to me is they've had some major tournaments that come to lacrosse, but
Yeah.
you got to get there. And so I spend a lot of money and time and wear on all my stuff, my truck, my boat. Like, my truck's got high miles, and you're traveling around the country chasing this carrot that's dangled, which is to get to this championship in lacrosse. But it's taken a lot of toll on me, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Just financially, mentally, emotionally, you know, all of it.
Yeah.
And just the stress of, like, God, I don't have enough vacation to cover all this time off at work. So I feel like I'm always in these situations before I get my new set of vacation days for the new year, which our year runs fiscal from like June to the following June. It's not the first of the year. So I got to wait for my new set of vacation days. And if I got no vacation, then I have to go to my boss and ask if I can get unpaid time off, and it's just all stressful, you know. And
It
it's
is stressful.
and it's also depleting my funds. So it's like I definitely want to swing this year, try to make that lacrosse nationals, and after that, I'm going to take a break from the big travel.
Yeah.
Just stay in the BFLs and the team tournaments, you know. And if there's a big championship in lacrosse, I got to fight that. Like, weigh the risks of the financial part.
I get it. Dude, the travel is what really is where the freaking rubber meets the road on this whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
people say entry fees. Yes, entry fees, but, like, it's all the stuff that comes with that you don't,
Yeah.
like, you have to really be a good financial forecaster to really see what's ahead of you. Like, I'm bad at that shit.
Like, I was fortunate that I made enough money fishing this spring, because it was a pretty good spring for me,
Yeah, it was.
tournament wise. I made enough money to wipe the slate clean on my debts from fishing, you know, going to Alabama, going to Oklahoma, having boat issues all last season. That debt carried over
That shit
into
fucking
this
eats
year,
you.
and I finally got it all taken back, and I owe very little now on my
That's
credit
awesome.
cards, which is great. But I just know how it works. Like, you finally get back to good, and you're starting to catch up and starting to save and stuff. And then you go and travel these big tournaments, and you piss it all away again. And I don't want to keep doing that.
It's way easier to, like, spend it than make it,
Yeah.
as you know. And I feel that, dude. I've had to, yeah, it's tournament fishing ain't all sunshines and rainbows. And I don't think, you know, anything in life is also sunshines and rainbows. It's all painted that way for us, but it's really, like, we aren't exposed to the reality of most anything nowadays with anything, which leads me to, with all this time you have, you know, mastering the custodial arts, what conspiracy kind of do you buy into the most?
Yeah,
Like,
man.
if we're talking conspiracy.
I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but
I'm not huge on it either. I hate the word, kind of.
yeah. I don't know. This whole Epstein stuff, I guess I'm curious to see where all that leads. I don't really have strong opinions on it, but
I don't either.
all I know is I think that a lot of people from every corner, every crevice of politics, doesn't matter what side, there's a lot of people out there that did some shit that they should probably be in prison for, and then you're never gonna know.
Dude, we'll
That's
never
the
know.
that's the great conspiracy of our time, I think, was like all these guys that are doing some really fucked up shit.
Dude, it's wild. And, like, you think about with the internet what people used to get away with. And like a lot of these people in power were probably going wild before the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's probably footage of a lot of that. But not all of it.
Yeah.
What about bass fishing? Do you think there's any bass fishing conspiracies that are worth talking about?
I don't know. I guess I have formulated conspiracies in my brain.
That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah, like I've always had this lingering belief that I have no evidence or anything, but I've always felt like certain anglers like somehow get something that helps them from inside tournament trails at times. Or from sponsor or like
Yep.
I had this theory for a while, and it's unfounded, no evidence, and I hope I don't get in trouble for even verbalizing it, but I always thought, like, okay, I thought Berkeley had something really figured out with their pro staff, because, like, when the flatworm came out, the way it's like every one of their guys, like, won a big national tournament that year on a flatworm, and I'm like, this is just too suspicious. Something's not right about this.
Yeah, I noticed
I'm like,
that.
I get that the worm is a great worm and it works really good, but I was like, what if they're doing something like with getting locals to load up cards like all over these places that they know they're going to be scheduled, and then the sponsors put those out to the anglers or like something. I'm like, how does like Keith Poche show up in Sturgeon Bay and like almost win a BPT like
Yeah.
on like smallmouth, like, and he's on like the juice stuff.
Yeah, top 5's all Berkeley pros.
Yeah, and it's like these guys got some dots or something.
Well, I've heard about like a KVD conspiracy.
I've heard all that too. Like, yeah,
Like how they scheduled shit on the Tennessee River same time of year every year, just knowing
yeah.
like didn't change.
Well,
like,
not only that,
like
but
kind of
there's
catered the schedule towards them a little bit.
yeah. There's always been rumors.
Hid the hair
so-
jig for them.
Yeah,
Like you could not get away with that nowadays.
I don't. Yeah,
They ain't hiding a hair jig for nobody.
I thought for a little bit that they were kind of propping Scott up, but then that kind of
Oh, Martin.
changed a lot. Yeah.
Tables turned pretty quick
Yeah.
on that one.
Well, I think it was a slow turn though. I think there had to be
Slow
some.
burn.
I think there had to be some slaps on the wrist, like behind the scenes, like, "Hey, man, you got to knock this shit off."
Yeah. Last straw kind of deal.
That's what I think. I don't think they would have just laid the hammer down like the first time this ever happened. I think there was some behind the scenes cover ups before, but
Well, it used to be just everybody was that way. Back
Yeah.
when
No,
I
I
was
know.
growing up, that was the sport. Like
but once they changed the rules, like 99.9% of people put that to bed. And
what's
it's just a
crazy to me
couple-
though is like these veterans that lived through that still don't outcompete the new guys that didn't live through any of that or
Right.
gain an edge from any of that. That's what's interesting. It's like information is only so good
Yeah,
before it hurts you because you only have so much time.
right.
How good is your info? It doesn't matter if you can't do the right stuff with it.
And I want to have like a rhythm to what I'm doing. And so if I'm just going out and like checking, going from spot to spot that somebody gave me, I'm not like fishing a natural day. Like, when would you ever fish like that? I'm just going to go from this spot to this, but fishing all different types of cover.
Can't do it.
This is just the juice. Like, no, I need to go get a bite and then be like, okay, they're on this kind of stuff, and then roll with that and look for that, rather than just like, to me, if you got dots, you don't understand what's going on. You just have a place to go and cast, and maybe there's a fish there. You're gonna do way better if you naturally figure out what's going on, and then like run the lake the way it's meant to be fished that week.
And each angler has kind of a process, right? And it's how good is your process? How good are you at breaking down the pattern of water? You know, what's in front of you. And I think that's, at the end of the day, you could give the same information to 3 anglers, and one is going to, you know, their process is going to be better, and your information is not a crutch to them. You know what I mean? That's to me what it boils down to is, do you fish with crutches, or do you fish a process, and do you stick to that? And are you anyway.
Yeah.
We should probably get to bed, Cade.
Yeah, we should probably.
Because you got a lot to do tomorrow. It sounds like the tennis balls moved, and so did that other thing. And, yeah, that roof. Did you fix it? Flex seal that shit?
No, I just cleared that drain. So
now the roofers need to come in and do.
They're gonna be there to inspect it because, yeah.
What's the point of flat roofs? That school has a flat ass roof, doesn't it?
Most of it, but the spot where the leak was on an angled roof. But I think the water got so high that it climbed that angle, and like.
Oh wow.
The roof is like super old. I don't know how old exactly, and obviously we patch it, but there's gonna be like tiny micro leaks.
I gotcha.
And a lot of those micro leaks like that, you don't have any issue with. It never penetrates them on like a normal situation. But if the drain backs up and you have standing water on it for a prolonged period, then it starts to find its way through.
Interesting.
So it's as long as you keep the drains clear, it's not too much of a worry.
Why do they make flat roofs?
I don't know.
I suppose.
And then they put rocks on top of them. Tell me why that is.
Yeah, my elementary school's that way. Yeah, it had like river rocks on top. Well, we're down on the bayou in La Crosse here in God's country with Cade Laufenberg. Dude, this was a great time. Appreciate it. Our beer's gone, but I'll cheers this water.
I got a tiny swig left.
All right, finish yours. I'll finish this water. This is Teal's Bass Galaxy with Cade Laufenberg. Checking in. Checking out.